Hi, everybody. Welcome to FNS Wrestling Podcast, episode 132. We are back down in the basement ahead of a journey out of the house to check out some live wrestling today for us. So we're back down in the basement to talk about another week of professional wrestling that we watched. So we are a few hours away from heading down to the Big Smoke. Have you heard it called that before?
Rec Room?
No, Toronto.
Oh.
Anyways, that's my co-host and teenage son, Jack, over there. I'm your host, and we are going to be heading down to Toronto today to check out an independent show, Smash Wrestling. Is it just Smash tonight?
Yeah.
Right?
Royal Rumble.
I say it's the largest
I think so.
indie promotion in Ontario. I think it is. I could be wrong. You're fact-checking me. But yeah, so they're putting on a show in Rec Room, which is like a kind of like a grown-up or a family Chuck E. Cheese, a non-kid Chuck E. Cheese. So lots of games and whatever, and then they have their back half curtained off or back section curtained off where they put up a wrestling ring. And I think we're going to stick around for a bit afterwards, right? Just to check it out. Because they schedule it at 4:00 on purpose to be able to take down the ring after their show and then put on the Royal Rumble.
Are we doing that?
I think we could stay for a little bit if you want to.
And it depends, because then we would be able to watch on time, but then when on the drive home you're missing a bunch, then you have to catch up.
But we never watch live anyway, so I don't think if we start watching live and then drive home, it gives us, you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind experiencing a match or two in a group setting, because I haven't watched,
especially if it's the women's rumble,
right.
That's first.
I haven't watched wrestling with other human beings other than you since I don't know, university maybe. I used to get together with a few friends and get pay-per-views. So I would be interested to see it in sort of a bar setting, even though you are only 15 years of age. It is all ages show, so I think I wouldn't mind checking out a match or two and then heading home and watching the rest back here. But so that's our plan for today. So the cool thing, I was checking the card and you said you already saw it, is we're going to get to see Drago and Aerostar I was a big Lucha Underground fan. It's come up a lot on this podcast, especially season 1 and 2.
But they're on MLW or something.
I think so, yeah. So Drago, really cool. Aerostar, also cool. I'm more excited to see Drago, so that'll be awesome. So I'm looking forward to doing that. What else happened this week? You wrote your first ever, shifting gears out of wrestling for a minute, you wrote your first ever exam.
Yeah.
And you said that what I wanted to hear when I asked you how it was, you said, what? Easy? Something like that?
Light work.
Light work. So it was history, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And on the first day of exams, we had buses canceled yet again.
Which didn't affect me.
No, it didn't affect you, but it affected other people. And again, it probably didn't need to cancel the buses because, yes, we got a ton of snow overnight, but they had it cleared out by the morning. So anyways, I appreciate it. It didn't matter to me. Didn't affect your life. So you have other exams coming up. Hopefully they go as well as that one. Just math, right? Is the only other one that you have. And
yes.
And your culminatings are done, which is not even an actual word but up here it just means a big final assignment at the end of the semester to sort of test your knowledge one more time of the concepts and things.
They don't have enough at an exam.
Right. Well, otherwise we talked about it. The exam would be worth way too much.
I don't care. I just put all your eggs in one basket.
I know. I think we had this exact conversation.
You got to pick one.
Right. So yeah, we're just got a lot of snow here. It's finally feeling kind of wintry. Your brother doesn't have basketball this weekend again, so that is a rare delight. And yes, did you just think you heard the cat in the litter box?
For a second.
I think so too. That is her routine, and I did just clean the litter box before coming in here. A little behind the curtain there, Very professional outfit we're running here.
I'm curious.
Oh, now you're going to go check? Really? You need to check? So yeah, that's our plan for this weekend, and then I don't know what else we'll get into, but do you work tomorrow? He left. He's left the room, folks. This is the most professional. Oh, and he brought a cat back in. The cat is here. Hello, Toast. She is not going to want to stay.
Yes, sir, I do work tomorrow.
What time?
2 to 8.
Now that door is going to hit the wall and make a noise. There it is. Great job. You're doing really well.
Say what's up.
But she will not. She looks like she is not loving this right now.
I don't think so either.
But we're back. We're going to do our usual thing. We're going to review
Rumble predictions too.
Right. We're going to review Dynamite in depth. We'll talk about some NXT and what's that other thing I watch? Impact Wrestling. Maybe a little bit of main roster stuff. There was one thing I really liked on Raw.
I put that in, yeah.
That I can talk about as well with you. And then we're going to tack on at the end, I think, some Royal Rumble predictions.
Which
talk
is
about
probably
that
my
show.
favorite one to do.
Right. We disliked that show very much last year, correct?
Oh yeah, it was just on. The only match I liked from that show was on, which
Was
was
Rollins
the
and Reigns, which was a
yeah,
great match, right? So
and that was the first thing, and then it was just like the women's rumble was okay, and then everything else was not great,
right,
and the men's rumble was dookie,
right. So
and
that's
Lesnar won.
we haven't liked a lot of main roster stuff, which again we'll get our worst of coming out at some point when somebody in this room gets their part of it done.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert, not me. Mine's done. But anyways, so that is hopefully still coming. I wonder when I'll stop saying the worst stuff is coming. At some point, it will arrive. But anything else you would like to chat about
um,
in the banter? I don't even know
mm,
why I ask
no,
anymore because
I don't think so.
you never have anything to say.
No,
So let
not as of now.
right. So let's move into talking about wrestling then in our first segment where we take a look at some of the week's wrestling news and rumors. All right, so taking a look at some of the ratings, NXT this week averaged 607,000 viewers, up a tiny bit, 1.2%, and earned a 0.12 in that key demographic. I even forget the range of the demographic now because I just say key 18 to 35,
I don't know.
something like that. And it's the young male demographic.
I thought it was a little lower, but I think you're right.
I think it is. But anyway, it's the people that spend money, I think, is basically what they've narrowed it down to, right? So that's down 14.3%. And that, I've got a couple, you know how they like to, where I get my sources, which I think is
we still
figure
going back
4.
to the 26?
No, we're different now. So it matches NXT's lowest rating in the key demo since, care to guess, basically summer, I guess, around my dad's birthday, if that means anything to you.
Like end of June.
Correct, June 28th, 2022. So
isn't he
that's the random date, June 26th.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
That's when Forbidden Door was.
Yeah, same day. So AEW average, they did it. They got over 1 million. Maybe the Briscoe draw got it for them. So 1,003,000 viewers, which is up 3.5%. Earned a 0.32 in the key demographic, up 3.2%. So now I've got double random dates for you that they gave me this time. The best audience total for the show since, I'll tell you, it's in the fall, I think.
October 26th.
October 5th. We went back farther.
What?
And the second highest rating. So again, like, first of all, they pick a random date and they go with second highest rating, right? Like,
why didn't you go highest then?
So now it's like I just enjoy the silliness of these. So second highest rating in the key demo since December 14th.
Okay.
Right? Like, okay, that's almost meaningless, but cool, I guess.
Almost cool.
Yep. What do you have?
I think it was after the pod last week, so I don't think I could talk about it yet. But they revealed like all the nonsense for 2K23.
What do you mean by nonsense?
Like cover star, blah blah blah, blah, stuff like that and what not.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't. It was after the pod, right? I don't.
Yeah, we didn't talk. I haven't, unless I completely tuned you out, which is possible. I don't remember talking about it at all.
Yeah, I don't think we talked about it last week. I'm just trying to find like where I can like.
So ill prepared.
Look at all the features.
Who's the cover art? You at least remember that?
Cena.
Wow.
On all of them.
Talk about current and relevant.
Yeah, which I don't. It's alright because I think part of the goal is like that kind of ropes in the casuals, right?
Of course, because you're like the hardcore fans are gonna buy it, right? Like they don't have to attract you; they need to get other people that might not. So that you're right.
Yeah, they did a whole thing where like Cena's invisible. And it's like then you can't see him. Yeah. And let's see. So the Bad Bunny is the pre-order bonus, which
you did mention that
is
to me.
super enticing for me.
Again, looking to attract not you necessarily.
Yeah,
they've got you.
So they got like all the stuff from last year. There's My Rise, which is like my career, my faction, my GM, universe. I think is getting a little reworked.
Nice.
And then also they're bringing in war games, which is pretty cool.
That's fun.
That'll be interesting.
Yeah,
so I think that's 3v3 and 4v4 you can do. So
that's a bigger draw to you than any character they're putting in there.
And so then there's the standard one, obviously. Then there's the deluxe edition, which I think if you pre-order, that's where you get like a few days early. Right. So it's supposed to come out on March 17th. If you pre-order the deluxe or the icon edition, you get like 3 days early. So March 14th.
Yep.
The deluxe one has like the season pass with like all the DLC packs that aren't announced yet. Then there's the Bad Bunny pre-order, My Rise boost, and the supercharger, which like I think unlocks you all like because there's always like the in-game unlockable characters. And then there's like a bunch of my faction cards, which it doesn't interest me a lot. And then the Icon Edition is pretty much the same, but then you get an additional Ruthless Aggression pack where you get Prototype Cena, Leviathan, Batista, and then OVW, Lesnar, and Orton, and then John Cena Legacy title in WrestleMania 22.
Peak OVW, I would say, at that time.
That's like the only time they've been like notable.
Yeah, they pumped out like a whole bunch of megastars in one shot, and then that was kind of it.
And for Rene Dupree. Oh, wait, no, that wasn't. No, it was Rico, I think.
Oh, wow. Rene Dupree.
I think it was Rico in that class, too. Which, I mean, like, why wasn't he huge? But yeah, this is cool. I want to get the Icon Edition because then I want to get all the stuff this time because I got none of the stuff.
That's how they get you. You're gonna spend extra.
Yeah, it's like $100 something.
That's crazy. All right. So AEW and DAZN, that DAZN. You know what? I literally looked it up how to pronounce it because it was driving me crazy.
I think you're right.
Yeah, I am because it took me to a little YouTube video of the pronouncing it. So it's DAZN. Don't know how you get to DAZN from DAZN, but I digress. So AEW and DAZN have announced a multi-year broadcast deal for 42 international markets. And those markets have, quote, secured exclusive broadcast rights to AEW. The deal's effective immediately, and it includes pretty much everything, right? Dynamite, Rampage, Battle of the Belts, pay-per-views, Dark, and Dark Elevation. Is that literally everything?
I believe so, yeah.
Right, so...
even covering, like, Battle of the Belts, right? So.
And then sort of buried down in the article, because I guess it's less important, they've also announced an international distribution partnership with Impact Wrestling. That happened in November, and nobody even heard about it. So
I don't remember hearing about it.
I assume it's good news for AEW, right? That just means they're getting... wider distribution, more people watching, should equal more money, I guess, and more interest.
And potential, like, international shows later on, right? That should kind of, I don't know, get...
So I assume a good thing for AEW. It's like a sign that they're still thriving, right? Or not struggling. They're expanding and more people want to see it. So that's got to be a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
You?
There wasn't really much. Like, I just kind of pulled the game one out of my ass because I thought that was actually notable.
Yeah.
Like, I saw, like, Bray Wyatt's listed internally as SmackDown's top babyface.
Okay.
I mean, I know he's a babyface, but like that's just weird that there's nothing. I guess McIntyre and Sheamus kind of slid down the card.
They're so bad at babyfaces, so it kind of makes sense, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, but he literally hasn't wrestled since returning, which was like in October.
Right. Do you know what the NIL is? WWE has signed 15 college athletes. Do you know what it stands for? I had
Next
to look.
In line.
But apparently it's... Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Because the thing I said...
It's like their new...
said it's name, image, likeness. So is that like a double entendre sort of thing?
I think that's not WWE related.
But anyways...
if I had to guess.
So they signed 15 new college athletes. And guess what their college sport of choice was? So football and...
amateur wrestling.
Amateur wrestling were a lot of them, right? And then...
lucky guess.
And so it looks like most of the males, because I've just pulled up the list here. I put a link to it there. You do have some soccer, tennis, track and field. That looks like mostly the female wrestlers. Then football, wrestling, wrestling, right? So, and for the males, it looks like the smallest one is maybe 5'11", 245, which is still pretty big. But then I see a lot of like 6'8", 320, 6'5", 235, 6'3", 250, 6'2", 290.
They're still so obsessed with this.
6'7", 275. I guess maybe they feel like they can find smaller guys that can actually wrestle. But if they want the big WWE looking guys, they have to create them in a lab sort of thing. I don't know I guess.
Power plant.
Basically, it's like no surprise was the point. Was the list of this is not really surprising at all.
It's like Vince never left, or if he came back. Wait, did he come back? Oh, he came back.
Which leads me into another one then, since you set me up. If you don't mind, I'll just go. That Vince McMahon is apparently working a normal schedule. Now, I sort of misread or misinterpreted this headline and thought it was terrible news. I was assuming that Vince was back to working Vince's normal schedule, right? Where he's involved in everything all the time and he's there all night and all day. But apparently what it means is he's working like a more generally normal schedule compared to normal humans. Like it even said he's leaving at a reasonable time instead of staying all night into the morning. And Meltzer's reporting that he hasn't been on TV since he returned. And I think it was Flair, not that I like to mention him too much, but he said on the Raw 30 that Vince was not backstage at all, and there were images from Gorilla Position, and it was Hunter, Pritchard, and William Regal. So it looks...
Regal!
it looks like Vince is less involved in stuff, which has to be good news, right? Not that the
and
product
Regal's
is
doing stuff.
Yeah, right. Not that the product is crushing it right now, but at least Vince is a little bit more distant from
At
it
least
than
it
he used to
has
be.
the chance to thrive.
Right. It could not suck if the right people get
Yeah.
involved. Sorry, go ahead.
So I know you saw this too. It's kind of weird that Luchasaurus and AEW are getting sued over
Right.
his mask.
Did you look into it? Because I saw the headline and I didn't look any further.
So they're getting it's like I think they're profiting over merchandise that designers composite effects believe is theirs.
Right.
The company claiming owns licensing and design rights of all our characters. Until someone was
So it looks
entitled
too
to use
similar to
mask.
something that already exists, sounds like. Whatever that might be.
Oh, he was entitled to use the mask in events as a wrestler. Madelson, is that Luchasaurus? I guess. But neither he nor anyone acting on his behalf was entitled to create merchandise that incorporated the mask design. I guess like merch.
They're saying you can use it to wrestle, but as soon as you're putting it on stuff and selling it,
Madelson. That's Luchasaurus' last name.
So
okay,
that's
so
the
they are referring to Luchasaurus.
Right. That he's making money off of it, and they don't like it. They're like, go ahead and wear it, but don't. They want. Yeah. So, anyways, see where that goes.
So that's. Oh, it literally says I could have just not googled it. His mask or his name's later in there. Yeah, because he worked with them first time around December 2016. Arranged for a modified version of their Viper silicone mask. Modified again in 2019 ahead of his AEW debuted. Adding horns were added effect before he debuted at Double or Nothing, which would have been when you first saw him.
Right.
So yeah, that's interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Another injury for an oft-injured person, it seems. Nikita Lyons has torn her ACL.
Whoa! Mention where it took place, please.
Well, and that's to explain her upcoming absence. She was yet another victim of the NXT parking lot.
Literally, the one caption I think on the NXT post was like, "The NXT parking lot strikes again" or something.
And at this point, if you're walking through that NXT parking
without
lot
luggage or a belt or a vehicle
or somebody to back you up, it's kind of on you because
it is kind of on her.
Quite possibly one of the most unsafe places in the world is the NXT parking lot.
I think it is. It's like a natural disaster. No, it's like a hazard. It's a huge hazard.
So she was on the ground, and other people approached, baby faces, I forget who now, and she was just repeating like she doesn't know what happened, right? So, in a way, too bad because
better than Aleister Black injuring his groin.
Just came off of an injury, but in a way, whatever, because
she kind of sucked.
She's not my favorite person outside of the ring for many reasons we won't get into, but still don't like to see anyone get injured, so hope she recovers quickly. I only have one more
I don't have any more.
My other one combines two of my loves, the NBA and wrestling. So NBA star, care to guess? How many NBA stars you know? There's probably you'll go like LeBron.
And as Cantor, because he was a former 24/7 champion. That's all I got.
So, nope, it's Joel Embiid, who's a giant center for the Philadelphia 76ers. He got fined $25,000 for doing a wrestling gesture. What would it be? What would you get fined for?
Suck it.
The crotch chop, yes.
Nice.
So
he got fined.
He did it during a game against the Nets. And there's speculation that because it kind of took off and got a lot of attention on social media, guess what? That there's betcha WWE invites him to an event, and he's 7 feet tall and 300 pounds. So get ready for Joel Embiid in the Royal Rumble, maybe. Actually,
Dennis Rodman take 2 or something.
Maybe I should amend my predictions down to get Joel Embiid in there. But anyways, yes. So that is all we have for news and rumors. So I guess it's time to move into, I think it's safe to say, our favorite bit of wrestling every week, right? I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's the only one I watch.
It's been years since we liked NXT better, or I liked NXT better. So
I gave up on NXT.
It's our in-depth review of this week's edition of AEW Dynamite. All right, so we're going to talk about this episode of Dynamite, but I guess we should point out that Warner Brothers, whatever the other, it's WBD, is it Disney? They finally approved to allow the Briscoes to exist. They were not a fan of
right, because that's why they didn't do the trip. Okay, never mind, I got it now.
They did not like the tweets nor the Confederate flags on their old ring gear, I think. So
remind me what that is.
I was going to say what's on the Dukes of Hazzard car, but it basically represents the southern states from the Civil War. So there's certain connotations attached to it that are not appreciated generally by a lot of people. So but that was cleared up.
WB included.
We are going to get Mark Briscoe in the main event on this show. So just sort of as a tribute to obviously Jay. So a pretty emotional main event. And sort of.
Which Jay?
Right. So anyway, sorry, you go ahead and talk about Dynamite. From the beginning, I sort of jumped to the end there.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. You want to do it in reverse?
Reverse. And then people can listen to it backwards. I don't know.
So then I'd have to pronounce it backwards too.
Right. Go.
That'd be a nightmare. Yeah. No. So we open the show with Ricky Starks and Action Andretti. Whoop whoop.
Yes, we do.
Versus Chris Jericho and Sammy Guevara. Double whoop whoop.
And they do like a very, very sports entertainment. So again, leaning back into sports entertainment, like the dance and ripping of the pants off to start the match, right?
Hey, that was Garza's thing. Does he even do that anymore?
Right.
Garza used to be cool. Now I don't care.
To me, it feels like Jericho's instincts are very WWE.
Especially now.
Right? That his ideas suit more WWE than AEW. And this whole jazz, they kind of flip back and forth between sports entertainment and not. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. I felt like they were sports entertainery here.
Yeah, definitely. And with Guevara wearing the pants too, it looks weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't look terrible because the red's kind of cool, but it's like, I don't know. It's weird. There's a little exchange in a standoff between Andretti and Guevara at the beginning. Springboard dropkick from Andretti sends Guevara to the outside. Then he runs for a dive. Guevara comes back in, leapfrogs him, corkscrew dropkick. Guevara goes for a Frankenstein. Andretti flips out, then hits a standing Spanish fly for 2.
That was cool. The flipping out of the Rana was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. There's a chop exchange between Starks and Jericho. Starks is doing that rope walk thing where he's kind of taunting and he's like holding Jericho.
Annoying.
But then Guevara takes him off the top rope cutter, so that was kind of worth it.
It was a contrived spot to set up. The payoff was at least cool. But the whole, like we talked about it while watching, the walking of the ropes and it'll come up again in Impact. Like, why wouldn't the guy just, like Jericho in this instance, just walk towards the middle of the ring and the guy's going to fall on his face, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just so, I don't know. I get it, but it kind of takes me out of it a little bit.
If he's not up there long, whatever, but it's like when you're
walking, strutting around
or walking around the entire ring,
right?
Not fast.
I guess the idea is the knuckle lock or whatever is supposed to hurt you.
That's the only like defense, but even then, that just kind of sounds goofy to me.
I agree.
Like that excuse doesn't really track.
But the cutter out of it was cool.
Yeah, it almost looked like a stunner the way it went. There's a tornado DT from Starks and a moonsault from the corner to a standing Guevara from Andretti for 2. Spear to Jericho from Starks for 2. Guevara breaks the pin. Liger bomb from Starks for 2. Rochambeau on the outside to Jericho.
That was cool.
Then the finish comes when Garcia hits a cheap shot on Andretti with the baseball bat. Then Guevara falls with the GTH for the win.
The bat shot did not look great.
Not great. It felt kind of like the Triple H method.
But even glancing, like, yes, you're covering your end with your hand, which is fine. But it also looked like it looked like Andretti was leaning back a bit early, almost in anticipation of it.
When did that happen? It was like Soho did that once, I think.
I think so. So I don't know about you, but this match felt like a showcase for Andretti. Like, I didn't find Starks did a ton. I like the match, but it felt a little bit like you do some moves, I do some moves, right? Andretti and Starks sort of thing. The crowd didn't seem to be very into it, which I was a bit surprised because AEW crowds are usually into everything. So I think it was a good tag team match. There were a few contrived spots, and just I'm not eloquent enough. Like, the flow seemed a bit weird to me. It was kind of just like get your stuff in kind of thing. And at this point, Andretti is super athletic, but he does feel like a bit of an indie spot machine, which I don't even mean that as like a giant insult.
It's just it feels a little out of place, I guess.
Right. I think that's what it is, right? But the match itself was pretty fun. I will say it feels like Starks is cooling off a bit just because I felt like this was an Andretti vehicle mostly, right? And
more so than Starks, which he's kind of has been lately.
Right. And so I don't know if I'm great with that, but anyways, it was a fun opener. It wasn't an amazing opener, but yeah, it was good enough, I guess.
Yeah, I think I kind of agree too, because I thought it was all right, but it did feel kind of off, and I feel like kind of like last week's opener, it was underwhelming a bit. I definitely like this one more than last week, because last week kind of had too much shenanigans involved.
What was last week's?
Lethal and Cassidy.
Oh, right. Yeah, it did. I agree.
Right.
With both of your points there.
More wrestling here, far less shenanigans. The action was solid. Just nothing really bad, but just kind of solid stuff. And it did the flow was kind of odd. I agree. I expected Starks and Andretti to get the win here, but I guess it keeps the feud somewhat even, and Starks didn't eat the loss at least.
Right.
Solid opener, but nothing really exceptional.
And Andretti's still a kid, and it wasn't a clean loss, so it doesn't really hurt him, I guess, right? Is the point, and gets Jasso in. But again, there's just a lot of Jas, and I'm kind of indifferent to them most of the time.
Yeah, and I don't really understand with the experiment with Andretti. Like, I guess I know Jericho saw something, but I'm not really feeling it.
Like, yeah, like he's fine, but do I want him to get time ahead of a lot of other people? No.
Exactly. That's kind of part of the thing, right?
Right.
It's like there's a bunch of other people I'd rather see.
Right. Not that there's anything wrong with him. He's definitely got a ton of potential, but
yeah,
there's other people I'd prefer.
Next we got a quick Jay Briscoe memorial package with just highlights of him and Mark throughout their careers, which I thought it's a nice touch. Nothing much to say there, but
no,
it's
and
solid.
A lot of ties to his family, like a lot of clips of him and his family, which is really sad as a parent when you see that this guy has 2 young kids surviving the accident who've hopefully surviving, have gone through a whole bunch of
if you sent your prayers
issues, right? So it was kind of quick, but really well done. And again, I'm just glad that they were allowed to do this and put it on TV because he seems to be and again, by all accounts, like they seem to have changed and grown from those horrible tweets that I think it was just Jay, not Mark, sent years ago. And I mean, we have to give people the chance to grow and change, and hopefully, and it's more actions than words, right? He apologized for it many times, and I think his actions since that time have indicated that yes, he has grown and changed, right? So we have to give people that opportunity. So I'm glad that they did this tribute. I thought it was really well done. It wasn't super lengthy, but it was really good, focusing on him as a wrestler and sort of a family guy. Putting in some elastics over there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then next we go right to Darby Allin versus Buddy Matthews, or as I'm going to continually call him, Buddy Murphy.
Yes.
Because I like it better.
Yep.
And also I was using him on 2K, so it's very recent.
Nice to see Buddy get a match on his own.
Out of the blue.
Of a decent profile, too.
Yeah, because TNT title match. And yeah, even like, not only is it nice to see him on Dynamite again, because House of Black's been like, largely Rampage since their comeback. Like, I think maybe a couple Dynamite appearances on their return, and then it's just been Rampage. And also he's on his own here. I mean, for the most part.
Right.
Which is great. And he's got his own Darby paint too, which I thought was kind of funny. That was a nice touch.
He had the half face paint.
Yeah, looking sick with his shorts that WWE took away from him because they're a bunch of buffoons.
Right.
But they left the parts in the creation suite, so guess who did that in the game?
Nice.
The only issue is I can't add Buddy to his name.
It's because you like those shorts, because it's nostalgia. We saw them at a house show in Peterborough.
And people made fun of him.
When he faced, was that Ricochet?
Yeah.
That's
Ricochet.
crazy.
Yeah,
before Ricochet debuted in WWE.
Exactly. Yeah, people made fun of him, and which was mean, because I love those shorts. They're cool.
That was a good match.
Yeah.
Really good house show match, obviously.
Yeah, that's sweet. Yeah, we saw Ricochet.
Back in the day.
We saw Ricochet before he was on TV, and we saw Andrade versus McIntyre before War Games.
Right.
That's the claims to fame there.
That's it.
So some notables, Murphy throws Darby into the barricade pretty hard a few times. That was like pretty early on. Darby caught a PK attempt from Murphy on the apron, and then he tripped him, and he landed face first on the apron. Murphy caught him from a suicide dive and right into a suplex.
Easily
effortlessly.
Yeah.
And then he dropped him on the apron, then he held him by the legs, like kind of like you're in a powerbomb, but he's like drooping down. He kind of swings him in the apron in the barricade, then he goes for a powerbomb into the barricade, which is dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And then which Darby counters into Hurricane Rana, sending him into the barricade, so that was cool. And I think like that, I don't know, that kind of stuff works better now that the barricade's not gonna like
not
like
fly
ricochet
into the crowd.
back like 5 feet.
Yes.
Right? Like, so I think that's kind of cool now. There's a Meteora on the apron for Murphy, which I thought that was pretty cool.
Me too. I wasn't expecting it, for sure.
Lights go out, House of Black appear. But
Lights went out for a long time, I feel like.
Yeah, I was like, they went in and out. I was typing something, and I look up, and I'm like, oh, the lights are out.
And you know, the TSN logo's still there, so we know it is part of the show, so you're just kind of waiting.
Right. House of Black appear on the stage, but then Ortiz attacks from behind with a kendo stick, because I think...
And I was like, who is that? I couldn't even tell.
They caused the split between him and Kingston, I think. Again, Rampage.
Right, like... Fill me in, man. That's why it seemed random, and I'm like, who is that? What's happening here?
It's so weird with him without Santana.
Just give me a little bit of a recap of what happens on other places, please.
I hope Santana...
Not everyone watches everything.
Hopefully Santana's okay.
Me too.
I
love Santana.
He's been out since he got randomly hurt in blood and guts.
I've been saying he could be a singles guy if he needs to, right?
No.
I think he's that good.
You can't do a street sweeper by yourself.
I know, but anyways.
That's not how it works.
True.
You can't do that. Then Sting joins the fight with the baseball bat. House of Black are gone, whatever. Sit-up powerbomb from Murphy for 2, or Liger bomb, as Excalibur will never not refer to it as.
Right.
Like a Jujikatami.
Right.
Poison Rana from Darby. Later on a crucifix bomb for 2. Murphy blocks the code red, gets a backside pin for 2. Then, interestingly enough, a buckle bomb and a curb stomp from Murphy for 2.
Right.
Disciple still in there.
Buckle bombs always make me nervous.
No, buckle bombs are fine, unless you're old and you're Sting.
Yeah.
Barricade buckle bomb is the dangerous one.
Right.
So I thought that was cool, because Seth Rollins. Because they were in a faction together.
They were.
Well, it was more of a tag team because AOP weren't there for that long, and then Theory was there for 2 weeks or something. I don't know. 2020 was weird, yo. Extracting eyes and all.
Yes.
Scorpion death drop from the ropes for 2 from Darby.
Didn't look great. I wasn't quite sure what
I just saw the impact. I thought it was something else.
I was struggling to see who took what on it, but Excalibur explained for us, I guess.
Darby wins with a coffin drop because Murphy's kind of draped in the ropes, through the middle rope, and so he hits him at the coffin drop to the back while he was in the ropes.
I like that variation.
So that's kind of cool. And he got the win. Then there's a post-match interview with Shivani. So he's talking about how Darby and Sting teamed with, I think, Muda and Pro Wrestling Noah, I want to say, in Japan.
I saw pictures of Darby Allin pushing Muda around in a wheelchair, I think, backstage or whatever. It was interesting.
And Darby's win streak recently, because he's been fighting champion, which I'll talk about after because I think it's been pretty good.
Yep.
Samoa Joe appears on the Tron. He's not gone.
Right.
And says he is coming to take everything from Darby. He feels the gold he stole from Joe is his, but he is coming back to take what is his, and the king will not be usurped by someone like Darby. He did also call him Dead Boy again at the beginning, which is funny. And winning the title is the biggest mistake of his career, and the king has spoken.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Match-wise, I thought it was really fun, and I'm going to say standard Darby Allin match, but that's not derogatory at all. That's a good thing, right? His opponent gets to look great, can showcase whatever he wants, and Darby gets to look resilient, hit some of his own cool stuff, and then win. And this time I liked the variation of the coffin drop as Matthews was kind of hanging over the second rope, right? I think it was. And Buddy Matthews has an incredible offensive arsenal.
Yeah.
So he's a great opponent for Allin to work with because Allen's willing to do anything. And I was saying it when we were watching it, I bet you that top talent just line up to work with Darby Allin. He's small, so you can just throw him around, and he will let you do whatever you want to look good, right? Again, great to see Matthews get a decent amount of TV in a good match. So I quite like this. The promo afterwards, another good promo from Joe. It seems like yet another slightly different style, right? His promos are all feeling kind of different to me, which I really, really like. He can go
he's
angry,
the anti-Cargill.
Or he goes angry or kind of quiet, almost funny, sarcastic, and then whatever this was, right? So it's setting up another match. I guess it's the rubber match between these two, right? They're 1-1 right now.
Yes. So, yeah, because he won the first one with the skateboard and stuff, and then Darby won recently.
Now I assume Darby wins the third one because he's on AEW, and I don't know what Joe's doing. I don't know what ROH is doing, but I'm not entirely sure, and it should be a good match. So yeah, I like this whole package, the match and the promo. You?
Yeah, I like it a lot. I don't know. It's really nice to see Murphy back again because he's my boy.
And just showcasing stuff, he's awesome, right? So it's nice to see him throw somebody around a bit.
Yeah. And wasn't there there was a bit where he powerbombed him and then buckle bombed, or was that? No, that was Cage, my bad.
Yes.
But yeah, he's got some great offense, right? And I think again, last week, the second match on the show should have been the opener. This was far better.
I don't disagree.
I think Buck's Top Flight last week was better, but
Agree.
It's in the same vein as where this should have started because this was a lot better than the opener.
Yeah, fun match.
Murphy looked great here because I haven't seen him in a bit. Coming back facing Darby is a great move for him too. Even though he lost, anyone's going to look good there, like you said. So he benefits a lot from that. As someone who's already got sick offense.
Right.
No Murphy's Law, though, so that kind of sucks. But, I mean, he's not going to win, so I guess it's okay.
Right.
It is kind of like the drill claw effect, though. Just do the thing I want you to do.
Which we got to see only in a replay from another show,
count.
But we got a drill claw.
Real drill claw.
Right.
I missed watching him in action, so it's pleased to see him in Spotlight again. Got a great showing here, and again, House of Black, I hope they appear on Dynamite more, so that he doesn't disappear from view again, Black doesn't disappear from view. They're all really great, right? So it's kind of a shame they've been on Rampage the whole time since their return,
It just
right?
feels like they don't quite know what to do with them.
which sucks
right?
because it's such like on paper it's such a good group because the gimmick doesn't suck, and then also like the pool of talent there is awesome.
But maybe it's like too dark and spooky and doesn't quite fit in with the general Dynamite
Maybe, but
aesthetic.
like
I don't
even
know.
so, it's not like a Bray Wyatt thing where it's like
No.
too supernatural. So like I feel like it could fit in if they just like kind of figure it out. 'Cause it's not the most supernatural thing. At most, the lights go out and they appear, which I think that's fine.
Yep.
And at most they use black mist. It's not like they're oozing black goo. Their most Alexa Bliss. But like, so I don't know.
I feel like it's.
I do think they kind of don't know, right? But like,
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's not the worst thing to figure out because like. It
They're
could be.
They're all super talented.
You could have to deal with Abaddon, right? That's like
yes,
more to me,
right? And it just feels like stops and starts for them, right?
Yes.
Like it's okay, they're back, and we're gonna have them on TV for a couple weeks, and then they're gone.
By TV, they mean Rampage.
Yeah, right. I guess.
Also, nice surprise to see the Joe promo post match. The King of TV is not dead yet.
We do like that
Not
little
yet dead,
character,
yeah.
right? So
it's a mixed bag though, because I really love his current shtick with the King of TV, which worked better when he had both belts, right?
Did.
So obviously then that made sense. But Darby's also really great as a TNT champ because I really like what he does with the belt because I think even better than what Cody did, like he is really the workhorse champion and he makes the title visible is the thing for me, right? Because I feel like under Wardlow, it kind of felt invisible. Scorpio Sky didn't defend it a lot. Guevara did a solid job, but like even he hot potatoed the belt a lot, right? So like I feel like Darby is probably my favorite TNT champion. Like he just really does a lot with the belt.
And his style, not only is he open challenging and defending all the time, but he's getting his butt kicked in every single one of those matches, and he's still doing it the next week, right? So it's even
and he looks good and he makes other people look good. Like I think he's a really great mid card champ, and so that it's kind of like a double-edged sword here because I really want Joe to have the belt too, but like I think Darby is also great, so you can't really do both. I guess the only upshot is like I can't really lose here. Like I think it's a kind of a win-win.
I agree.
Although like I want to have both because it's I don't know they both do a really good job. And I think Darby like it's been a long time since he held the TNT title the first time, but like it did kind of remind me like even though two of his defenses were on Rampage, like. Still, like he does make the belt visible, right? Which I think is kind of important. So.
And he's your ideal open challenge fighting babyface, right? Like it's very impressive because he just with Wardlow, it was pretty easy every week, you know what I mean? But Darby's like getting killed every week and still coming back, right? So I think it works really well.
And he's even brought in like someone like Kushida, which is kind of unique. So it's like you can kind of do that sometimes. Which it was kind of what Cody did. He faced not as much because he faced Warhorse. So
oh yeah, I remember that.
Just as good, but like.
Indie darling Warhorse.
I mean, like, you and Cody kind of did that because, like, Kingston and Starks came in through Cody's run, right? And they were both from NWA.
Yeah. And I just always remember Brody Lee just killing Cody.
Oh, that was awesome.
Such a great match. An underused sort of match style, right? Like, just killed him.
Yeah, I think they did that, like, maybe twice, which it was, that's the term. You got Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
Who
was the second one?
Malachi.
Oh, right.
The first match.
Right.
Because but then the way they did that feud was weird too. Because when he came in, they did it right. He pasted Cody the first time, then beat him again, and then he lost.
Right.
Because why would you go over Cody again?
No.
You dare try that.
Even Steven.
Exactly.
WWE stuff. Almost.
It's weird because it's like you're gonna have him lose the second match, so then it didn't make sense. But yeah, maybe Samoa Joe could Cody Rhodes, Darby Allin.
He could, for sure. It wouldn't even really hurt Allin that much.
I don't really want him to, but I also do want him to.
Yeah.
You know? So it's like, I don't know. But yeah, that match is next week, so that's neat.
Yep, that's cool.
It's no holds barred or something, right? So I don't think he will Cody Rhodes him.
No, probably not.
No.
He just beat the hell out of him for 15 minutes, probably.
You know who should face Danielson?
Who?
You want to guess who I'm gonna say?
No.
You probably you'll see it coming.
I don't know.
Taylor Rust.
Oh. No. I don't think that's happening.
What? That totally makes sense.
No.
Yeah?
It's not exactly a draw.
You dare.
Unfortunately.
But
I like him too.
He beats Thatcher. Need another technical guy? Oh, hello, Taylor Rust. Nice to see you.
Right. Could be.
The only issue is they might have some difficulty securing the rights to his NXT theme. So, yeah, that's a bit of a difficulty.
No, only Tyler Rust fan.
Hey, that's mean to Tyler Rust.
Yeah, I like him.
Taylor Rust. Russ Taylor. Whatever his name is.
Ryan Taylor, when I used to watch him on Championship Wrestling from
so
Hollywood.
Lame. He needs Rust in his name.
And he was in a tag team with a yoga guy. I forget what their name.
Diamond in the Rust.
Yes. Okay, let's get.
Okay, that's still the
moving.
best catchphrase
We got places
ever.
to go. Keep this party rolling.
Next again, Adam Cole package. I said he can rest easy knowing he's able to work out in the ring. So I guess he's working out in the ring. Cole spoke about how he doesn't know when he's able to wrestle again, but that day's coming soon. Then they kind of pan to the Revolution flag thing up there.
Right. So,
which would be cool because at last year's Revolution, that was when he was facing Adamander Page.
Right.
And he wore like that Halo gear.
So yeah, I thought this was another cool little vignette. It's establishing Cole as the hardworking babyface returning from an injury, right? So, and I and you love Cole as a heel, but he is a super capable babyface as well, and that's a lot harder to find. So, coming off of a serious injury, possible career ender, it makes sense to lean into him being a babyface. Plus, I think he's eventually going to be a challenger to MJF, right? And if that's the route they're going, that's a great match, and Cole as a babyface makes sense.
No. Gross. Yeah, he kept saying new Adam Cole, but I want the old Adam Cole.
It was them going, just to clarify, I'm a babyface with no affiliations to anyone else right now. Right? So.
Wait. Oh, okay. All right. Here we go. So, Kyle O'Reilly comes back soon. Babyface tag team. Cole turns on him. Boom. Heel Adam Cole.
You could.
Presto.
Well, he will be a heel at some point, but not now.
If anything, we haven't seen Kyle O'Reilly wrestle longer than Adam Cole, because I think the last time O'Reilly wrestled was... Okay, I might be wrong. I don't know. Last time I remember him wrestling, we'll say, was when he won that Battle Royal, and then he wrestled Mox. Because the winner would face Tanahashi, and we knew he would lose, and then he lost. And then I know he wrestled Darby Allin at Double or Nothing. I think that was before, though. Yeah, that was before. All right, never mind. I think I'm right.
Sure.
Yeah, which would be before
super important.
Yeah, you're telling me you don't care where Kyle O'Reilly went.
I do not. I just want him to come back. I don't really care where he is.
I care where he is, because then he needs to come back from wherever he is.
Okay.
That's how coming back works.
Good Canadian boy.
You need somewhere to come back from.
I guess.
Yeah. I wonder what he injured. Did he get concussed? I don't think so. Anyways, speaking of Canadian boys, boom. Ethan Page and not Canadian Matt Hardy versus also not Canadian Jungle Hook.
Correct.
So there's one Canadian guy here. And side note, Isaiah Cassidy and Stokely Hathaway also not Canadian.
And it's like Cassidy's servant that doesn't want to be...
No, because remember they have Hardy and Private Party's contracts
against their will
in the firm.
Which I seem to have
come with
forgotten.
Hardy Boys theme, which scared me for a second.
Yeah, thought Jeff was making a return.
Oh, thank God. No offense.
Surprise Rumble.
Partial offense.
Surprise Rumble entrant.
Ew. Gross. But Paige and Hathaway shut that down. Paige's theme hits. Men of the Year theme, okay? That theme slaps, all right? Bring Scorp back just to do that.
What did Paige say that made us laugh?
Theme slapped. When?
On the way to the ring, I think it was.
Oh.
He said something and we both laughed, but now I can't remember what it was.
It was funny.
It was a very Ethan Page thing to say. Oh, this is where you clap or something like that. Or this is where you cheer or something.
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some notables. Page tried to hit Hook with an Ego's Edge on the outside. Jungle Boy hit him with a suicide dive. Hook hot tag flurry post-commercial break. Then the finish comes. There wasn't a lot to note here.
No, there wasn't.
Page went for a twist of fate. Jungle Boy countered, locked him in the snare trap. Tried to take out to Hardy, who wasn't reaching a lot, but he was kind of reaching. Hook took him out. Page tapped. Match over. I'll just go quick. I thought it was okay. It feels like Page slipped down more after a couple of months of them really giving him some good presentation, which I was really happy about. And this felt kind of low for him. Like even though he's not the highest guy, I felt a little beneath him. I don't know.
I had that. I thought he looked a little foolish at the finish.
He did, right?
Which I didn't like.
Because the presentation of him ever since the firm, it was really great. I was really enjoying him, having some solid presentation. Even losing to Danielson, he did kind of fall a bit after the Eliminator tournament, but I feel like he was doing really good in first, in the last few months. And
this felt like a step back, right?
Right.
That was I wasn't a big fan.
This feels like I feel like. I guess him, his promo abilities and whatever, it does lend itself well to this storyline, but you can't do this with the lower firm guys or something.
Yeah, I also used the same adjective.
That reminds me. I saw them advertising, the Unrestricted podcast they do.
Yeah.
I saw it had Cass, but it said Big Bill Morrissey.
Nice.
I don't know if that's better or not.
I thought this was just okay as well. It was pretty short. Hook hit some cool suplexes, but kind of like the Andretti Starks dynamic, it felt like Hook was more of the focus than Jungle Boy, right? So,
which I guess makes sense, but
I guess, and I don't know. I I thought this was all right. I didn't love it. I didn't love the treatment of Paige. I don't love him tagging with Hardy. I don't love him losing and look kind of silly, but the match was fine, I guess.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I guess it's like, because I guess you gotta get Jungle Hook over, but then that kind of does a disservice to Paige, right? Like, if it was Matt Hardy and Private Party or like something, then that's fine. But I don't know. Just if it kind of sucks for Ethan Page. Also that just reminded me, Private Party still like remember they were so huge at the beginning, and then ever since they joined HFO, it's just been nothing.
Nothing.
Because remember it was a huge thing. They beat the Bucks in the inaugural tag title tournament. That was huge, and that was like kind of a star making thing for them. And it's just kind of like.
And then they just got lapped by Top Flight, who were like a similar super athletic, young, inexperienced team.
Party
right?
got like had more to them. Like they had like their whole gimmick was cool, but like that, it's just like I don't care anymore. And like, when's the last time they've been prominent in anything?
Not at all.
And this feels just like again low card.
Yep.
Next we get the Gunn Family Therapy. Woo.
Not what I expected. I'll say that.
What do you mean?
I thought it was going to be like a comedy leaning, if not full on comedy segment. It was not.
It was like almost like a facility for an interview kind of thing. It
really was just a sit down between two tag teams, right? Ahead of a title match.
You could have done this with Renee.
Which is fine. Like, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, but you could have done this with Renee, and what's the difference?
Right. I have one complaint, but I'll let you explain it first.
Austin Colton said that Billy wasn't there for them during his career because he was on the road like most of the every year. Caster Bowen took shots at them for not being successful in a popular team like that. Colton talked about Billy's failure as a father. Like, I think all of their mistakes are his failure.
All of our failures are because of your failures as a father, which was pretty. Even Billy Gunn like touched his heart there at that. Like, that was a direct shot nice. There. Yeah.
Yeah. Billy asked them what they want. They want the title shot, so that's pretty obvious, I guess.
Yeah, it was better than I expected, actually. Again, didn't go the comedy route at all, and I thought that's where they were going. But the worst part of this, I thought the therapist, who didn't actually say anything or very little, but it was the over-the-top reactions while the other groups were talking, and it just felt like I was watching like a TikTok or something.
Honestly, it would have been better with Renee.
It's super exaggerated facial expressions. It didn't really help at all, but I thought each side made some valid points, right? Because the Acclaimed is like, you've had all of this time to mend your issues with your dad and you've done nothing. And they're saying, well, our dad was on the road 320 days a year and we basically didn't have a dad and that's why we're all screwed up and it's all his fault. I found Colton's delivery a little bit awkward, but again, he's super new to wrestling. But I like the segment more than I thought. It helped set up a title match, I guess. It's not necessarily the title match I want, but it's like a placeholder match, as we would call it, right? So I thought this was good enough.
I thought it was pretty solid, yeah. If nothing else, the guns didn't suck.
True, again.
Which, like, was it as entertaining as the FTR Memorial? No. But was it bad? Also no.
No.
So when I'm speaking with the guns, I'll take that as a win.
Yep, for sure.
The Acclaimed and Billy were solid too. This only really accomplished setting up the title match I expected, but don't need. But as long as it's not the pay-per-view title match, which I don't think it will be, because we still have like over a month.
I don't think so.
I'm fine with it, I guess. Like a placeholder one, I guess. Like at least there's history there. It's not like, hey, they're randomly defending against Butcher and Blade, which I think they did already.
Probably. Similar level team,
exactly.
To be honest.
But like at least there's history with this. Like this was when they turned face like last year.
But there's a little bit of we've done this already.
Yeah.
Right? You guys fought over Billy Gunn already.
Yeah.
But anyways.
I guess now there's the titles at stake, which also doesn't feel right either, but whatever.
Yep.
Next we get a Hangman interview with Renee. She asked for more details of what's next for him. And he says he doesn't want to get too specific, and he says when he looks forward, he can't help but look back to Ohio where this started. Not what I wanted. And he wants to do the impossible, knock out Mox in Dayton, Ohio next week, so they're in a different Ohio. Different part of Ohio, not Cincinnati.
Right.
Where he got knocked out.
Right.
Then Yuta comes in and says Mox isn't cleared now, but he will be next week, and he accepts because Yuta and Mox have like a telepathic connection, I guess.
That's right.
He says why doesn't he fight him on Rampage on Friday? Then Hangman asks Yuta what makes him think what happened to Mox won't happen to him, and then he leaves, which I really like that.
Yeah.
As an ending line.
A little bit inconsistent of Hangman because I thought he did such a great job acting conflicted about hurting Moxley at the end of their last match, but now he's like, I'm going to actually try and knock you out. So either I misread what he was trying to get across at the end of the match or they've changed. But anyways, I thought It was
maybe
fine.
Maybe he's getting annoying because like I don't know, like Renee's always asking him about stuff and like I don't know.
Or he's embracing his like what side he thinks he needs to be to defeat Moxley, right? Is that he needs
to kind of end it.
I need to get past having any sympathy for him, and I just need to end him. I thought Yuta sounded good here, and I think it's a really like good role for him to be like stepping in front of Moxley until Moxley's cleared, sort of thing, because it gives Yuta a really
solid
good match
setup for a Rampage match, right? Which isn't always the case.
Exactly. So I didn't have a problem with this little segment.
Yeah, I thought it was good work from Hangman again. I'm totally okay with the third match next week. I'm all for a decisive end to the feud.
Me too.
As much as Mox is my main guy, I think Hangman should come out on top again.
I do too.
Like I think he just has more to benefit from winning here. And Mox can handle a loss easy. And like I think like if like Hangman were to go like if they're gonna do that elite thing that I'm anticipating, I think Hangman needs a win here, and Mox is totally capable of just taking a loss.
It just feels like, I hate to use the word because it's WWE's, but momentum-wise, right? Moxie's cooling off a little bit after being at the top for quite a while, and they're sort of reheating Hangman to get
Which
back.
I think is what they need to do,
and maybe
right?
Moxie's still got his vacation coming to him or whatever, right? That's been
I hope so.
put off forever, but yeah, I think so too. I think it's time for Hangman to sort of ascend again a little bit. And not that you can't go back to Mox whenever you want. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And I think like a solid setup for a Rampage match. I'm sure Hangman Yuta was cool. Didn't watch it.
I'm sure it was cool.
Next we get Bryan Danielson versus Brian Cage. Bryan versus Bryan. They are spelled differently. I made that joke already.
And this is where MJF is paying Cage to specifically break Danielson's arm, right? So that becomes part of the story of this match for sure.
If he really wants to take him out, just tell him to extract his eye. God,
right?
Like, such an idiot. The show clips of Cage's Rampage win over Willie Mack last week. Drill Claw.
Didn't see that either. Oh, yeah, that's where the Drill Claw was. Drill Claw on a pretty large man as well.
Yeah, but, like, he didn't Drill Claw Danielson. Like, if you're going to Drill Claw anyone, Drill Claw Danielson. That'll literally kill him. Like, if Cage faces Adam Cole. As much as I love Adam Cole, if you want to beat him, Drill Claw him. That will kill him.
For sure.
Or, like, if you're facing Edge, a Drill Claw will kill him.
Edge came up a lot on Impact this week.
Oh, yeah, I saw.
Did you see that?
That was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that. I saw. So Danielson with the kicks in the corner early. The C kicks.
Yeah.
As Bandito.
Oh right. Like C, I think a letter C. I'm like what? Gotcha. I'm on board now.
LaBelle lock early on. Cage gets a rope break with his foot. Cage lifts Bryan in a military press and throws him in the corner. That got a bit reaction from me. I was
like, dangerous, man. That looked unnecessary for a guy a neck injury away from being retired.
That's what I'm saying. A drill claw would kill him.
Yeah.
Bear hug when we get back from commercial break. Oh yeah.
Your favorite?
Oh yeah.
Isn't that how I beat you in 2K?
You didn't beat me, okay? You were the referee and you screwed me against Big John Studd.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, I think I was playing as like
you were
Ruthless
so mad.
Aggression Brock Lesnar, and you just screw jobbed me.
Yeah, that's right.
I think it was in NXT.
That's what I do. I'm a heel.
Lesnar versus Big John Studd.
Heel for life. Okay.
Crooked ref. There's an outside in. I think it was a German by Cage. It looked like
he did his normal like regular outside in, and then he did a German, which was cool. I don't think I've seen him do that before. Just a beast, this guy. It's like a video game.
No,
character.
He's not a beast. He's a machine.
He is a machine.
And that's why they call him Cage.
That's right.
Okay, it all makes sense.
It does.
And he's also a Swolverine, so that's why he's a machine, which is why they call him Cage. So see, it all connects back. There's the yes kicks from Danielson, or C, if you will. The finish comes with a buckle bomb and then a power bomb from Cage. He goes to lift him up again, then Danielson kind of rolls. He flips over and rolls him up for the win. The post-match, Cage attacks Danielson, keeps going after him. Targets the arm. MJF walks out, hands Cage a steel chair. Cage puts it around Danielson's arm and sends him into the post. MJF sends Danielson back in the ring, continues to beat him down. And Cage comes back in and puts the chair on Danielson's arm again. Then MJF wants to like stomp him from the middle rope, and then Takeshita runs out. MJF runs off, and then Cage and Takeshita briefly brawl until he takes him out with his jumping knee.
Yeah.
Nice.
I liked the match quite a bit. It was different because Danielson didn't get a ton of offense along the way. Cage looked dominant, ton of power moves. He always looks great. Like he looks like he's just a video game, and he's hitting every like high impact offensive thing you want. If I'm gonna nitpick it, there was a couple spots where he like no-sold Danielson's offense, right? Like firing up, which I don't think he needed on top of hitting a ton of dominant offense. But it wasn't my favorite match of the Danielson sort of trials, but it's
probably my least favorite one.
Still a really good TV match, right?
Yeah, and that's just kind of more of a credit to the first two as well.
Danielson wasn't in control a lot of this match, right? Which is what I like to see. I kind of wish
it got a little more time too.
And this angle's been a really simple way to get great TV matches every week. So I like this one as well.
The one we're getting next week, we'll talk about that.
Exactly. Pretty excited for that. We might be two of the more excited people because we liked his next opponent a lot more than some people do. But
which I didn't much at first, but then he really did come. I did come around on.
Oh yeah, I quite enjoy him.
Mm-hmm. I thought it was a solid TV match. I think they could have done a bit more, maybe a bit longer, but it was good for what it was. For a Danielson match, the finish kind of underwhelmed, but I guess it's something different. And maybe the desperation with the injured arm, that you can kind of make that defense.
Yep.
Solid stuff. Still no drill claw, so I hate everything. Post-match stuff was solid to catch on TV again, so that's pretty great.
True.
And no drill claw, so I don't care.
And I think the post-match stuff is also setting up Danielson won't be at 100%, right? He's going to basically wrestle with one arm, and that gives him an out for losing.
Right, and also maybe that's how MJF can kind of hang with him.
Right, and if you have him in a 60-minute match, right, that a lot of that can be MJF working that arm, because that's the only way he's going to hang with Danielson, I think. So yeah, it kind of makes sense, right?
Indeed. Then we go to Danielson in the medical room. Doc Samson gives a medical update with a partially separated arm or whatever. Some medical terminology, I don't care.
Oh, it was super technical term.
I don't even know.
That he used. Don't me either.
Danielson asks if he can still wrestle. Samson replies no. Danielson shouts he doesn't care. He's wrestled with the messed up shoulder for an hour or something, or he will. I don't know if he said he did or if he will.
I think he said he did. He wrestled with a separated shoulder for an hour.
Yeah.
So this will be light work.
I think there's fear behind MJF's mask, and he will expose him. The man who should be AEW World Champion will be, and he will take everything from him. I thought it was solid. I really liked the intensity. It was pretty short, but I liked it.
He showed great fire, especially at the end of this, and I think it's this idea, similar to what they're doing with Breaker and Waller, is that MJF is getting to him, right? Like the non-stop obnoxiousness and attacks and stuff is getting to Danielson finally, and he just wants to get his hands on MJF regardless of if he's healthy or not, right? So I think they're telling a pretty decent story.
Yeah, I like where it's going. Next we get Toni Storm versus Ruby Soho.
My first note, Storm is orange. Very orange. Especially in the, what was it, a little...
The promo thing?
Yeah, her face.
The split screen promo, yeah.
Very orange.
And she's wearing tights now, so that's how you know she's mean as hell.
Right.
Because she didn't wear tights last week.
You don't understand how you notice and remember these things.
Well, I just noticed it looked weird that she was wearing pants or long tights, and then also they replayed last week, so I was able to see she was not wearing tights.
Still didn't notice.
So
if you're me,
well, flesh legs look different than when you're wearing
I know,
tights.
But I would never hey, that's the difference. But you are detail oriented. It's not a bad thing. It's just the thing.
You notice her skin.
I did notice her skin, and I'm colorblind, folks. And I was even
color deficient.
Sorry, severely color deficient, and I picked up on the fact that she is of unnatural, Oompa Loompa-ish.
Almost.
Yeah.
Bordering on Oompa Loompa.
Yeah.
Some notables are forearms and chops, backing Storm in the corner from Soho. Thumb to the eye, hip attack to send Soho off the apron from Storm.
Although I will say, I thought Guevara looked a bit orange this week too. I think there's some fake tanning, spray tan issues. But anyway, sorry, go ahead. Just wanted to say it's not just females I'm picking on for looking orange, and we've noticed
people
MJF
hands look weird.
Apparently, after the first time, he was doing it on purpose because it was getting him so much heat online. People noticing.
Nice.
But anyways,
Saito suplexes from Soho.
Waiting for it. Doomsday suplex.
There you go. Then a strike combo followed by a back heel trip. It's not
nothing.
No,
I got nothing.
No, good. No, Doomsday back heel trip.
No,
exactly,
no.
Exactly. Toni Storm fakes a broken nose and hits a German suplex.
And it was the ref stoppage comes and checks, which is starting to bug me. They did it on NXT as well this week. The goal of wrestling someone is to hurt them, right? To hurt them to the point where they give up or you pin their shoulders to the mat. So checking on people for being hurt is bugging me. The point is to hurt them. If it's real, I get it, right? But working it into a storyline too often starts to bug me. The point is you're fighting each other and trying to hurt each other. But anyways, I digress.
Hip Attack and a Tornado DT from Storm for 2.
Hip Attack looked good as always. Yeah.
Baker's music hits and she's tracked Storm. Then Soho takes advantage to beat Storm with the Destination Unknown, which is, as I like to call it, crummy Blade Runner.
So, Tony Storm's a heel?
Exactly.
Britt Baker's a heel?
Exactly.
Heel distracts a heel?
That's what I'm saying. It's really weird.
Or is Britt becoming a face? Have we double turned?
No, because they never really actually turned Baker and Hater face.
But the Hater promo later doesn't even feel heel.
But
like, oh, Emi Sakura, you're
coming
so
out
good.
to distract her doesn't feel face.
But she's distracting a heel to cause a heel to lose.
Right, but kind of it doesn't feel. It feels like she's still a heel to me.
We're pretty smart dudes that watch a lot of wrestling. It should be a little more clear than this, I feel
Probably, right.
I mean, I'm going to take the liberties of calling us pretty smart dudes. I don't think there's confirmation of that.
I don't think so.
There's nobody here to disagree. So
no,
you can reach out to us if you disagree, vehemently disagree that we're intelligent people, but I don't understand what's going on here. And not in the way that, like, it makes me interested to find out what's going on. It's irritating me a little bit. I don't know
like
you.
You shouldn't have to do this much guesswork, I guess, right?
I agree.
Like, it's really weird. Like, I guess, and Tony didn't even seem super heel to me, other than the whole faking the injury thing. And like, she didn't feel super heel to me, especially getting distracted by Baker, also a heel, right? Like, I don't think she's a face yet. Like, it's just weird. And she lost, and Storm doesn't feel much of a heel to me. Just a week after the Random Incident last week. Also, first match as a heel, if you want to call her that, lost to Ruby Soho.
Right.
Anyways, like, it was fine. I'm just not caring much. And it's just confusing, and I don't really care to, like...
I thought the match was okay. I don't find Ruby Soho very interesting. There's been matches of hers I know I've liked. I can't name any off the top of my head, but I know I have. But I just don't see her ceiling being very high, and I don't think she's good in promos and stuff, so I don't ever see her as like a top tier talent, and I'm just kind of indifferent to her a lot of the time, which is too bad. I want to like her, but I'm just not
I kind of stopped trying, I guess.
I think I'm at that point too.
Like, it's just like she was fine. Like, and she just kind of been continuous slipping down ever since she came in.
Is Baker a tweener? Is she like an anti-hero?
I don't
know.
I don't think so. And more to the point, I agree. I don't know.
Right. But anyways, I guess we'll figure it out someday.
Mm-hmm. MJF promo next. He ripped on Takeshita again, making fun of his name again. Woo. MJF trashed Takeshita, saying it wasn't smart to get involved, and he told him to stay out of his business or there will be consequences. Yay, more Takeshita.
Right.
He trashed Danielson for thinking he's a hero, while MJ said that Bryan's obsessed with the AEW World Title. He said that this belt proves that it is all worth it. And he said Bryan had enough with a loving family and loving fan base in his first Hall of Fame career. He kept on threatening Bryan. He said this week, Tony Khan issued an open contract for anybody to face Bryan next week. He found somebody that likes to dismantle men. Then they have a brief video package from Pro Wrestling Noah for Timothy Thatcher.
Yes, sir. And that's who we were referring to. Sir. We really like Thatcher in NXT.
Oh, he's such a perfect...
A lot of people didn't.
He's such a perfect opponent for Danielson, too. Like, that just makes sense to me instantly.
Yes, that should be an exciting match. So I thought this was a strong promo from MJF, but not one where anything really stood out to me. There was no line I felt I needed to write down or anything that was like a super strong takeaway. I felt like it didn't need to be as long as it was, kind of for that reason, because there wasn't a ton of things that were memorable to me, but I am thrilled to get Thatcher Danielson. That match could err a little too much on the side of holds and counters, but probably in a good way, and I would imagine Thatcher's just going to have 9 million ways to target Danielson's shoulder.
Yeah, he's going to have a field day with that.
So that should be, that's one of my favorite things, is targeting pre-existing or randomly occurring injuries, so I'm quite looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. And Thatcher is cool.
Mm-hmm. Another good promo from MJF, the standard but great stuff. My main take gotta be Thatcher next week. Like, hell yes.
Yep.
Super pumped for that. It's been way too long since we've seen our favorite psycho-looking technical wrestler. Like, even in the package, I was like, oh yeah, he looks like an absolute maniac.
He is. Yes.
Like, just his facial expressions and like just the way he's got such a mean mug, you know.
Yes.
So I'm really excited for that. That will be sweet next week.
There's a couple matches interesting, right?
Taylor Rust after.
If we get Joe Allen in this match, there's 2 I'm already interested
Mox Hangman.
Right, so that's a good lineup.
That's 3.
Yeah.
Boom. Next we get Jamie Hayter promo package. She's talking about Emi Sakura being a wrestling legend. She's changed a lot since the first time, blah, blah, blah. Hayter hits hard. Match on Rampage. Don't care.
Didn't sound like a heel promo, really. In my notes, it says a heel prom, which would be interesting. Heels only at this prom.
Maybe they'll do a prom for the AEW heels thing, you know?
But, like, complimenting the opponent and just being like, I'm different now. Well, not very heely. So, again, things are unclear to me. But I thought she sounded good, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, again, she is the champion. I feel like her profile isn't high enough. You know what I mean?
No.
She's the face of your division in theory. I feel like it should be more than, what was this, minute-long little promo, if that. So she did well, but I don't think that's enough necessarily. But anyway,
feels like a bit since we've seen Cargill too. Like that belt, that belt is just dead in the water. The TBS title, because she's held it for over a year, and it's just
I feel like maybe they thought she would be a lot better by now than she is, and they're kind of like, where do we go from here? Because she's decent, but she's not going to have any amazing pay-per-view match. Like, she's consistently the weaker match, one of the weaker matches on whatever major show, right?
Also consistently on the pay-per-view. The match, I'm like, why is this on the pay-per-view?
Right.
Not even that it's like big. Not great, but I'm just like, why is this here?
Right. So yeah, I don't know if they're sort of pumping the brakes on her a bit or figuring out what they're doing.
If you're gonna pump them, she should also lose the title. No, I guess they don't have a plan.
There's no like, where do you go with it? I don't know. But anyways,
I know not.
Yeah. Main event time.
Main event time. Mark Briscoe versus Jay Lethal. So there's some chop exchange a while early on. Hip toss, cartwheel, basement dropkick from Lethal. Enziguri from Briscoe. Lethal combination from Lethal. Lethal injection also connects. Mark rolls out of the ring. Running blockbuster from the apron from Mark, which looked pretty cool. Mm-hmm. It's the froggy bow through the timekeeper's table from the top.
Cool. Yep.
Rolls Lethal back in the ring to get a 2 count. He avoids Lethal injection, clocked him with a lariat. Like, he kind of, like, followed him and then did a really nice, like, it just looked like he clobbered him, which was really nice. And he followed with another lariat.
It flipped Lethal right over, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he wins with a J Driller for the win. He wins for the win. Sure, redundant. And then roster gathers on stage to pay tribute, which was pretty cool. Everyone's there. Lethal, like, even like at the beginning and at the end,
he was crying.
He was really emotional, which I thought was that was kind of cool.
He was basically crying before the match started, so super emotional, which adds to the match. I thought it was a good match, with a memorable table spot with the froggy bow. Super cool move and pretty obvious to have him win with his brother's finisher, which is a cool finisher anyways.
What would his finisher be otherwise?
A froggy bow, probably.
That makes sense.
So I don't think this was a top tier main event, but it was good, right? A lot of emotion.
There's a lot of outside factors in there, I guess, right?
And which elevates it. And then the entire roster coming out on the stage was a nice touch. And Mark winning it is obviously the right call.
I liked also he came in with both tag belts. That was kind of cool.
Yeah, exactly.
I remember seeing
they kept talking about him as one half of the, like, sort of remembering Jay and saying he's still a tag team champion at this point, which I thought was cool as well.
I also remember someone, like, I think the one guy that posted about, like, death matches, he was like, they're just posting promo, like, about, like, Jay talking about the ROH tag titles and, like, they don't want to leave without him or something, and so then it's, like, kind of interesting that he died as tag champ, I guess, so that's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought it was, like, not an amazing blowaway main event, but considering all the factors surrounding it, it was a really nice main event to have, I thought. And Jay Lethal just continues to have good matches with everybody, right? So yeah, it was solid.
I thought Mark Briscoe's actually surprisingly solid. Like, on
his
own.
Man. They've been wrestling forever. They're good. They just have a different style, right? It's this redneck kung fu mixed in with, like, aerial stuff, and they're just they're a different style.
Yeah, given recent events, this was the obvious choice for the main event, a last minute one, but obviously, like, it makes sense. And I think you mentioned Jay's birthday too.
You're right, which is crazy that worked out to that. He was going to be 39 on Wednesday. It's a young man.
He's younger than you.
Yeah, he is. That's why his kids are so much younger. That's why it sucks so much for them.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Everything else aside, like, just as a match, I thought it was pretty solid. Not the best main event, but, like, it was still solid. Like, Lethal hit some nice stuff. The Mark has a nice offense too. Frogger bow through the table was pretty nice.
Yeah.
Jay Driller was a nice touch. Looked sick too. And then everything else, I think, was nice too. Just, like, all encompassing all factors. And I think another classy move from AEW too is an all around nice tribute, nice main event. Like, kind of, like, reminds me of the Brody Lee thing a bit. Like,
right.
It's nice that they do that kind of stuff.
They seem to be a classy company. And Tony Khan maybe a billionaire with some heart to him, which would be a nice thing. Probably an anomaly,
seems
in my
like,
opinion.
Right?
Yeah. Or he recognized there's money in it, or both. It can be both, right?
It could be.
It can be both. Papa rating.
That's fair enough.
Yep. Overall thoughts on the show, not a top level Dynamite because really, in terms of matches I really enjoyed, I'd say Buddy Matthews was really good. Cage Danielson was good in the main event, but then like Tony Storm, Ruby Soho, I didn't love. The opener, I think we both agree something was, excuse me, a bit wonky about it, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
And then promo and segment wise, there wasn't anything that really stood out to be amazing to me. Like the Cole thing was good enough. The tribute to Jay was nice. But there was no real lengthy promo. MJF's was, I didn't think, super necessary. It was fine. So this is just a notch below a really strong show for me. So it feels like there's not a match I'd say you have to go out and see this, right? So for me, that immediately eliminates the A tier. So I gave this just a solid B. Still a show like I enjoyed watching it. We watched it all in one shot this time. But nothing blew me away, I'll say that. You?
Yeah, I don't think it like breezed by. Like it didn't feel long, but I don't think it like breezed by like it has sometimes. Yeah, so I thought the opener was solid, right? Like kind of felt off, but it was solid. I really like Matthews, Murphy.
Me too.
And Darby Allin. Tag match, Danielson Cage is pretty good, but a little underwhelming. Women's match, it was fine, I guess, and the main event was pretty solid. And a nice all-around piece.
Yep.
The family therapy thing was solid.
Yeah, that's true. That over-delivered
Adam
for me.
Cole package was all right. Like not the Hangman actually was pretty solid too, but none of the promos really stand out, right? Nothing like that blows you away.
I agree.
MJF also solid. So I think like next week looks pretty good, but yeah, I think this was like a B show, like pretty average.
Yeah, I feel like with that lineup next week, we're gonna get one match where we're like, this you need to go check out, right? I think. All right, well, that wraps up our Dynamite review. We'll move into some trivia that we always put in at this point in the show, and that is what we call Off the Top of His Head. All right, so I'm keeping the Royal Rumble theme going. I got a couple different things in the hopper, as they say. That's what the kids say, right? In the hopper?
I guess.
Just kidding. So we're starting out with great Royal Rumble performances, and then I've got a couple like quick hitters after that because I imagine you'll get these pretty quickly. So this is looking at Bleacher Report's 10 greatest individual Royal Rumble performances. Okay, so I'm going to give you the year and see if that triggers anything for you. And then if not, I can sort of give you hints along the way. So the first one I think is hard, starting at number 10. They are saying Royal Rumble 1991. Does that mean anything to you?
So I know Hogan won that.
Okay, so it's not him. But I'll give you a hint because a lot of these are either like Iron Man performance, right, or woman possibly,
or maybe eliminations,
or like number of eliminations or something, right? So this one is an Iron Man performance. Oh. This person went 52 Perfect. minutes. I will say it's a Canadian. Entered at number 6.
Mountie.
52 minutes.
Rick Martel.
Correct.
Really?
Eliminated by the British Bulldog. Right. So he was just entering. It was around that time with his big feud with Jake the Snake Roberts and the blindfold match that was coming up, right? And he was really good.
Everyone's favorite match type.
Because he was doing the model gimmick with the. I remember this vividly, right? With his cologne.
What was it called?
Arrogance.
That's what
and he would bring it in like a giant, like not a cologne bottle, but I don't know what those things are called.
The thing, yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. All right, so this one, I think these will more be in your wheelhouse. So the year is 1996.
Michaels.
It's not Michaels who they're talking about.
Michaels was 95, right?
So this
He won this one too, though.
Lasted 48 minutes.
Brett.
No, and he was still using a previous gimmick that would definitely be changed later.
Ringmaster.
Nope. I don't know if I'm trying to find hints out of here. So he was a solid member of the mid-card as of January 1996 arrived. And then he became sort of a breakout star. But he lost a match to Duke the Dumpster Droese on the free-for-all. Any idea?
No.
Spoiled Blue Blood from Greenwich?
Oh.
Who's that?
Hunter.
Correct. Triple H.
First Helmsley.
2014. Now we're getting into your wheelhouse,
Roman Reigns.
I think. What did he do?
Eliminated like 12 guys, I think.
Which was a record at that point.
Yeah.
Still is?
I think it's kind of a double-edged sword because Strowman did 13, but that was in the 50-man. So,
right.
like, I guess technically not.
Right.
But, like, I don't know.
That is the one. What about 2017?
Jericho.
Correct. What did he do?
He lasted like a while, right? That wasn't that the year he hit like most combined or whatever.
Yes, he was an hour-long performance. He was the Iron Man that year. He only eliminated 2 people.
So
and then
he doesn't get that.
And then
category.
who eliminated him? Do you know?
Roman?
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Lucky guess.
1998.
Austin?
Nope.
Not Rock.
Yes, The Rock. And do you know what he did?
I guess I'm gonna go. He eliminated people, but I don't know.
Iron Man entering number 5 lasted about 52 minutes.
Nice.
And he was.
Is he gonna do it again?
He was the final man eliminated by whom?
Austin.
Correct. And that's the longest performance of Rock's career to that point.
I mean, maybe he'll do it this year, right?
It could be. Hey, don't spoil my picks, okay? 1994. Sort of someone kind of making a name for themselves, emerging as maybe a main event player.
Luger.
No.
Brett.
Had been acting as like a second for
Diesel.
Correct. This was Diesel clearing the ring of a lot of people, right? He got rid of Quang, Owen Hart, Virgil, Billy and Bart Gunn, Bob Backlund, Scott Steiner.
Bart Gunn, professional boxer, Bart Gunn.
So 7 eliminations, and that sort of inspired the support, and that sort of sent him on that run, they say. Pretty easy one, 2006.
Rey Mysterio.
And what was notable?
Iron Man.
I think
Andy won.
The record, right, as well?
I believe, yes.
Do you know how long he was in for?
Wasn't it like an hour, 2 minutes or something?
Hour, 2 minutes, and 12 seconds.
Yeah, that one's pretty famous.
And as you said, he did, in fact, win. Yes.
Randall.
Number 3, 2001.
Kane.
Okay. And what was so great about it?
Was it like 11 eliminations?
Correct.
He had the record until Roman did.
Correct. So at the time, record 11 eliminations, came in at number 5.
Yeah.
And lasted 54 minutes.
So
for
kind
a
of
big mon.
Double.
Yeah, that's
right, because he was also the runner-up.
That's a lengthy performance for him.
Good for Kane.
2004.
Benoit.
Correct.
He who shall not be mentioned.
And what was the deal there?
Iron Man. He also won, right? I think he's one of the ones who won from number 1. I think.
Correct.
One of the ones who won from number 1.
Correct.
Wow, that is a sentence.
He lasted over an hour, and ended up winning, coming in after entering first, right?
Yeah, one of the ones who won from number 1.
Right. His name shall not be mentioned.
He who shall not be named.
And then the obvious number 1. Do I even need to tell you what it is?
Michaels?
No.
What?
1992.
Oh, Flair.
Yes.
Really? I'd go Michaels. I think he lasted longer.
Didn't even make the list. So Flair entered at what number? Do you remember?
3.
And yes. And lasted how long?
Like
an hour, just over an hour, right? And that was the big Flair in WWE, et cetera, right? Okay, so that's
probably like the biggest thing he did, right?
So now a few quick hitters, starting with an easy one. I got, I think, 5 of them.
Still going.
What did Mick Foley do that was so unique at the 98 Rumble?
Entered 3 times with all his peeps.
Which are?
Mankind, Dude Love, Cactus, Jackson.
Correct. I really like this one. I don't know if you'll know it, but it seems like the kind of thing you might. Though only lasting about 3 minutes in the 2002 Rumble, what impressive feat did Maven accomplish?
He eliminated Undertaker. Duh.
Because everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
That's just common knowledge.
He drop-kicked him from the back and knocked him out.
Right.
That's like, everyone knows that.
Right. Okay.
It's the only thing Maven ever did.
So the first Royal Rumble was when? This isn't part of it, but...
88.
Right, 88. So who was the first ever superstar to enter? I like this one, too.
Brett?
It is Brett.
Nice.
Just an informed guess, or just like...
It just made sense. I don't
know. What was Curtis Axel's possibly accurate claim following the 2015 Rumble?
Never eliminated.
Correct. Do you remember the circumstances? What happened?
Yeah, Rowan attacked him and then took a spot, but then I just saw a post about that. It's like been like 2,922 days.
He's never been eliminated. And you know what I really like? Did you know
he's the Iron Man, really?
That he coined a catchphrase off of that?
What?
Axel, often imitated but never eliminated. Which I thought was probably the greatest thing he's ever done. Last one. In 2003, Jericho entered and quickly eliminated Shawn Michaels after some shenanigans. What were the shenanigans?
Oh, didn't Christian fake him out?
Yes. So Christian basically came out for Jericho's entrance as Jericho, and then Jericho attacked from behind.
I saw that like a little while. I don't know how I had remembered, but
yes, very good. And it's funny, I had one more Royal Rumble idea for next week, but I guess the Rumble's over by then. But I still might do it.
Yeah, you
because
doof.
I made a note of an idea I have for next week, so I won't tell you what it was. But that wraps up our trivia section, and we'll shift gears back into talking about the week that was in wrestling, what we liked and didn't in a segment we call Highspots and Restholds. All right, so surprisingly, we're going to start out talking about Raw, and I watched like over an hour of Raw because I was home after work, and I was like probably going to take a nap, as I tend to do after work, and so I just put it on in the background and saw a major high spot that I think you're going to talk about as well. So go ahead, I can contribute.
I'll throw it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so from Raw 30, or Raw is XXX.
I saw some Restholds from there too, but
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got one of both here.
Nice.
High spot, which was the trial of Sami Zayn, which I saw a bit of the segment, so that was actually pretty good. Like really paying off the story, like, because Roman's getting pissed at him and saying like Sami's basically like, I have no defense for like all like the accusations Roman's throwing at him, like working with Kevin Owens, all that. And so Roman's like, he gets really pissed, and he sends Solo to Samoan spike him, and Jay comes in with the save and then presents evidence. Like, so I thought that's just really great. Like,
such a good storyline, and I've heard lots of people,
and Jay even talking about like he was the one against Sami for so long, right? So it's like, it's such a great.
I've heard some wrestling fans are using this storyline to try and get like their significant others or non-wrestling people, because it's actually like a compelling, well-written story that doesn't necessarily feel like a cheesy wrestling thing. Like, it's actually well acted and well written, so they're like trying to draw in, like, get their spouse or girlfriend or whoever over, right, to be like, watch this, because it's actually like, you know what they say, like, wrestling's like a soap opera, and it's a well done story in a soap opera, right?
It almost feels not real or out of place, because it is so good. Because like,
I know.
When's the last time they've done something this well done and sustained
for
it
so long?
It's been
and
like
I think
almost
there was
a year.
Bit of a lull, and then Sami
like,
coming, it's just been
that's
amazing.
a bit of a breadcrumbing too, right?
Yes.
Like with like Sami, like I don't know. It's so weird how they've done really good. And then the title match was solid too.
I thought it was like, and it's funny because I think for some reason live we had it on and we could see that Sami was involved in the match and we didn't know.
But he was in promo gear, right?
So I ended up watching it from the beginning, and it was just excellent, I thought, sports entertainment, like the best version.
I think it would have been better if Balor was in instead of Dominic, but like it was still good.
Because the in-ring action was really good. You had Balor sort of realistically interfering, getting caught and removed. You had Rhea Ripley getting involved in almost taking offense from a man, right? So there was that moment of, is she going to get attacked by a man?
I feel like maybe we could get a payoff to that.
And then you had like, my only nitpick is whichever Uso took the injury spot didn't do a very good job.
Jimmy,
of like,
okay, you gotta get this down now, all right?
First of all, he didn't do a good enough job of saying that he wanted to stay in the match. And second of all, he basically walked out under his own power on a knee injury that was so bad that, unless it's like that was the plan, I don't know.
I can't imagine.
So then Zayn gets added. Just really, really interesting stuff. So a very good match, and even the stuff interrupting the match didn't feel like too much and made sense. So I thought it was awesome, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I was super impressed.
Yeah, it was really nice, especially for Raw.
Exactly. Like, it was excellent, like
all around
super high level sports entertainment, right?
And then Resthold from Raw, my last bit of Raw was the DX and Kurt Angle nonsense. Didn't see much, but it seems like the stuff we don't need.
I watched it. It was the only part
the only joke is that the only thing I've seen is people like joking about how like Kurt Angle's weird, like with DX. Like, it's just, I don't know.
The only part I liked is that the old men in DX were literally like, nope, I don't want to fight you. I'm too old.
Instead of, that's like, getting over the kind of high spot, and there was them putting over Imperium.
Right.
Which I think that was
because I was like,
cool.
Oh no, they're going to make Walter look terrible here. Nope. But it was like, no, none of us want.
And then I think
still Imperium, a little bit comedically, like not afraid of them, but just kind of like, no way, I'm too old to do this, right?
Right, like, and I saw Imperium faced Rollins and I think Street Profits, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then Rollins tweeted like, run it back, biatch.
Nice.
Because I remember they faced off before Survivor Series 2019. They were faced off on Raw.
Right. So that was it for Raw?
Yes, sir.
All right, so taking a look at NXT then. I wasn't a super big fan of any of the non-Dynamite stuff I watched this week, and I had a note here that I think you watched a bit of NXT and Impact, if I remember correctly. So if you have anything, just let me know to contribute. So a high spot for me on NXT, I thought there was an effective opening segment. I have one criticism, but that's because I'm a middle-aged man and not a young person, so it's probably unique to me. and maybe my cohort. But so basically, Waller's like filming himself as he tends to do on the way into the PC, and he's sort of talking trash about Braun, being like, I know Braun's in there lifting weights because Braun lifts weights like 9 hours a day and never does any cardio, which is sort of like implying how I'll beat him because he doesn't do cardio sort of thing. So anyways, he goes into the PC, which I thought was a good use of it here, and he's basically interrupting people training and being loud and obnoxious and calling out Braun, and it's Braun eventually ends up coming out and they brawl, right? But it seems a lot more realistic than some NXT angles. Like take a look at Tony D'Angelo, which you saw this week, and some other stuff, right? And they presented this by editing together several people's like phone recordings, you know what I mean?
Right.
Including, I'm pretty sure, the anonymous person that's been filming stuff at NXT.
Is it the SmackDown hacker, except it's the NXT?
Right, something
whatever
like
it
that.
is.
And it's not my favorite thing because since it was filmed on phones, it's like that's stripped down the middle of your screen. You know what I mean? It's like a third of the screen. But again,
they couldn't be filming it like
right. I get what they're doing, and it won't phase younger viewers to have it look like that. But as a person who's not on social media watching stuff like that, it's like, why am I watching this on 1/3 of my screen? But whatever, that's a nitpick. I thought the brawl also, I'm sort of combining it here. Braun and Waller had a brawl near the end of the show that I thought was effective too, with Breaker trying to spear Waller moving, and Breaker classic going through the barricade, right? So I've kind of enjoyed the simple build to the Waller Braun. Like Waller just is super obnoxious and irritating, and he's getting under Braun Breaker's skin, and he's trying to do it on purpose to get Braun off his game, right? And Waller is just super convincing as a relentlessly obnoxious, mouthy heel. And Braun's really good in the role of like, I'm more the strong, silent type, right? I just want to get my hands on this guy and like break his neck. And that Waller, I also like that he's moved away from being the cowardly heel, and he's now confronting Braun and engaging in physicality with him on purpose, right? Just to get Braun off his game. So, Waller just at this point reeks of main roster to me, which might affect my predictions in the Rumble. He's just really good at doing this, right?
Yeah, but I'm not sure how high he'd get on main roster.
No, just even as like, you know how they like put him in there and then he's back to NXT just to give it a taste. It's almost like a trial balloon to see how the audience reacts to him with no plans of him staying on main roster. You know what I mean? So bottom line is we're getting a cage match between the two at Vengeance Day, which I think could be pretty good. A rest hold, I'm killing a bunch of birds with one stone here. The in-ring action overall, because it was kind of back to really short matches, not to the level of 2.0 where it was what was the running joke? I would be like in a bout and you would go,
right, it'd be
3
like
minutes.
3 minutes is like the max.
Right. So Tiffany Stratton had a 6-minute comeback match and defeated Indy Hartwell. It was fine. They did a fake injury thing with the ref being kind of looking dumb, and then a Stratton hitting a really nice moonsault. She did like the BME basically, right?
Yeah, it kind of. It was like,
it looked really nice.
Except she doesn't do the 180 turn.
But the actual moonsault looked great.
Yeah, it was kind of stupid, the triple springboard, whatever. But
then we had JD McDonough beating Andre Chase in 5 minutes. There was some decent action in this too. I really liked. I think you were there for that. He Chase countered the Devil Inside into a destroyer.
Yeah, I like the way he took it.
Yeah. So that match was only about 5 minutes.
I was using Devlin on 2K the other day.
He's sick. McDonough did win with the Devil Inside, and part of the story here was Duke Hudson sort of walked away from the ring looking like he's abandoning Chase. And again,
because was he gonna help or something? Like,
and this match came out because McDonough sort of interrupted. They were doing an award ceremony for Hale winning her first match.
That was lame.
I thought McDonough was good interrupting it.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
So I'm kind of enjoying Chase U. I think they found their niche and do a really good job here. Then we also had Henley and Kiana James beat Ivy Nile and Tatum Paxley in 4 minutes. So Kiana James, right, as she's sort of trying to befriend Henley because she's dating Jensen, I guess. But she sort of cheated a couple times, and Fallon Henley didn't see it. I think the idea...
They're going to kind of run that.
I think the idea is Briggs saw it.
Yeah.
And maybe Jensen.
I don't know. I didn't catch it. I did see the match a bit, but I didn't really pay attention.
So the interference leads to the win. Henley pinned Paxley after hitting a running knee. Again, okay, but too short to be really interesting, right? And then the best match of the night, I think you watched it too, not even saying it was amazing, but that was the Creeds defeating Drew Gulak and Hank Walker, and that one got 11 minutes. So one cool spot that we saw was standing shooting star from Julius, followed by immediate.
Yeah, that kind of caught me off guard.
Standing moonsault from Brutus, so that was pretty cool. They kept Walker's role minimal here, as I think they need to do still. And how his ring gear just bugs the heck out of me, right?
Can you even call it that?
Still jeans and a button-up shirt, despite now being a wrestler for months. So I don't, and being coached by Gulak, right? Who would be like, get some ring gear, probably step one. So bugs me. So this one was Drew Gulak got distracted because Charlie Dempsey came down to ringside, right? And that sort of left Walker alone, and he took
take a Brutus ball.
A suplex and a Brutus bomb for the win. Yeah,
Brutus ball.
Brutus ball, sorry. Then we had Elektra Lopez cheated to beat Wendy Chu after 4 minutes, so it was brass knuckles. Lopez actually hit some decent power stuff here. There was an inadvertent ref distraction, I think, because Valentina Feroz was there and was I think she was trying to tell the ref, hey, she's going to cheat. She's got brass knuckles, but that actually drew the ref's attention so that Lopez could use the brass knuckles. So I don't know. The story is that Lopez is trying to get Feroz to adopt this mentality of you just got to be willing to do anything to win. So not a great match, and Wendy Chu seems to be sort of moving off the radar. Like, she just lost in 4 minutes to Lopez. So I don't know. We'll see.
I guess that's okay, but... And
then finally, the other match was Chance and Carter successfully defended their tag titles against Alba Fire and her surprise partner, Sol Ruca. So basically, this was okay, but it wasn't the main event because it ended with a segment this show, but this was the final match. So it's basically a head scissors sent Fry into the steps. That left Ruca alone. So again, similar story they told in the show already, that one partner is taken out and the other one takes the finisher, which in this case was the 450 neckbreaker combo, which is pretty cool. Decent action, nothing special. But didn't I predict that I felt like Isla Dawn and Alba Fire were going to... So it looks like that because I think they I think Isla Dawn showed up and they walked out together, right? So I think
she kind of followed her out.
I think that's what's happening there. Resthold, man. The JC Jane, Gigi Dolan fake breakup, right? So they each got interview segments where they trash the other person. And then in the final segment, they're in like a sit down in the ring with, I think it was Booker and Perez.
They were going like way too hard on it.
But then the surprise is, nope, they're going to work together and put Perez through a table. Fine, but let me ask you this. Did they have to do the whole ruse just to work together and put her through a table? Completely unnecessary, right? They could have stayed like, we're a united heel team. We're still going to do the sit down. We're still going to put you through the table. So I think they felt like they were being clever, but like it didn't change anything. You could have done the payoff is what I'm saying, I guess. The payoff would have been exactly the same if you didn't do that. Right? Am I wrong? So unless the story is no, they are having problems, but they just reunited for that second to take her out, but I don't think that's where they're going. That
Maybe
seems a bit too
sophisticated. Match, I guess.
I guess.
Like, I don't know.
But it was kind of like the payoff didn't justify the way we got there because you could have just still been a united front and still taken her out. It
didn't change
anything.
The status quo.
So I thought it was dumb. And then a high spot for me, I think you saw it, Apollo at the barbershop.
Yes.
Other than him not having hair, which is the only nitpick.
Like beard, and I guess, maybe I hated the people in the background, though. They were kind of annoying.
And maybe you could argue that why would this barbershop that is Hayes' place and his buddy, why would he take his feuding opponent at the moment? But the guy just goes, well, the seat was open, right? So anyways, it's basically because Carmelo Hayes went to Cruz's place, which was the diner last week or the week before. So now Cruz is doing the same and going into Hayes' special place, the barbershop. So they end up going back and forth. Cruz says that Melo needs to realize he isn't going to get rid of Cruz so easily. And Hayes, I thought, was good here. He's like, you just need to accept that I'm a younger, better version of you sort of thing. And again, this is leading to a match. We're getting a 2 out of 3 falls match. So I thought I've liked all of these barbershop segments. I like that Carmelo Hayes has his own little spot that he does these things because he's awesome. It sets up a match that should be...
He's going to super kick trick and throw him through there.
It should be a really good match. And I think Hayes has to win, right? He just needs to keep that trajectory toward the main title, I think.
Winning at the next PLE, which would be the thing Stand and Deliver again, probably.
I'm hoping. Because he's a star, man. You like Hayes too, right?
Yeah.
Like, he checks all the boxes, other than, obviously, he's not 6'5", right? But I don't care about that, and you don't either. He's super talented. He's a star. Resthold that I know you saw, Stax and Tony go into a restaurant together. So they get a private room, I guess, because you're important and have money. You can book more space than you need is a thing if you're rich, I guess. I don't know. So they talk about Stax being the new underboss, and Stax saying he wants to take on the biggest opponent he can find, which you were assuming is Dijak, right?
I assume, but didn't they already do that?
Yeah, like, so I don't know if they're going back to it. I think Stax is cool, but this is like still like cartoonish, stereotypical nonsense.
Yeah,
right?
I hate
like,
the way they talk with the accent. Like, it
just
just
the
annoyed
tone
me.
of it is so silly.
I hate it.
And
you can't take it seriously either.
No, and that's what I mean. You contrast that to what Waller and Breaker are doing, which feels like a real thing, right?
Right, you can't.
Waller's
I can't
just a
take this
prick.
seriously at all.
Yeah, and this is just like a cartoon to me. And I have the next one is Highspot Stevie Turner ? So I haven't liked her streamer character since debuting, and I don't think I will much going forward. But I have to say, this week I was amused because Mackenzie, I guess the thing was that Stevie Turner was supposed to show up face to face for an interview, but instead she just shows up on a screen doing her stream. And it's funny because she's ignoring all of Mackenzie's questions and taking questions from her super chat, because those are the people paying to ask questions, right? So I kind of thought it was funny, like, you agree to do an interview, but you're going to ignore the interview questions and just take questions from your viewers, right? So I like that. And the bottom line was she's debuting next week in ring.
Woo.
Big deal. Resthold, I think you saw this too. Dijak and Wesley.
I don't think I did.
You didn't?
I don't think so.
So somehow Wesley decides to go meet Dijak in a dark room somewhere for some reason.
Well, which you do because...
And Dijak just looks and sounds so silly because he's talking about injustice and justice, but what? It reminds me actually of when the Shield were first around and they were like the hounds of justice, but
that made more sense.
It didn't really
yes,
at the time. But anyways, Wesley sounds really awkward to me almost all the time, and this Dijak character is like Terminator 90s tough guy, and they also added like a retro film filter. I don't know how to explain it, if it was trying to be
like Shield also worked for the Authority, so like it's like that kind of justice. It makes more sense. Okay?
They need to pull the plug on this version of Dijak. I feel bad because I like to watch him wrestle, but this character is ridiculous.
Why don't they just put him back to Dominic Dijakovic? I don't really know what that gimmick was, but that...
I think he needs a mouthpiece, and he just needs to come out and wrestle. Honestly, I feel like there's no character that's going to work with him. Kind of like Karrion Kross a little bit, but better in ring. Like I just don't believe any of the character stuff. But I like him in the ring at least. So Impact now, a rest hold for me. Mike Jackson, who you said is what, 73?
That's what they always touted as.
Taking on Trey Miguel in the opener for the X Division Championship. Now, don't get me wrong. The things this guy Jackson at 73 did, and the shape he is in at 73 is honestly nothing short of amazing. But it's not something I want to see, right? So like you pointed out, he did the walking the top ring rope, like 3/4 of the ring, I think it was. I was just amazed at the moves he was willing to take at 73 years old.
I saw like the part where he's doing the rope walk and then Trey pulls him down, punches him, and then like Trey's strikes look so light, which I thought, like, I know you always mention that, but I thought that might have been doing part to how old he is.
I think you're right, because I noticed some of his kicks were super gentle.
They looked incredibly light.
Which is a criticism I have of Trey Miguel, but I haven't
feel like I didn't think it was always that light,
no.
If you know what I mean.
So I feel, and I'm a bit nervous, and I've said it I think a couple weeks now, I feel like we're entering like a low period for Impact, which sucks because we're going to a show in April, right? So I'm hoping they swing back. But there's some things I'm seeing, like the reliance on veterans and bringing people back, which I'll talk about later.
They've done that, that they've had that kind of period.
And that is the exact opposite of what I want from this company, right? I do have a high spot, and it's Macklin interacting with Josh Alexander. So Alexander is the longest reigning champion. Really like him. Just don't think they're building any believable challengers. But anyways, so he's talking to Gia about the 6-shooter match that's on this episode to determine...
Oh yeah, I meant to ask, how does that whole thing work?
The 6-shooter? It's just a 6-person elimination.
Oh, lame.
That's all it was. So that's to determine the number 1 contender. It's the main event on this show. And the match is all former champions. So Macklin shows up, sort of gets in Alexander's face. And I liked what he said, because he's basically like... He's beaten everybody that's in this match. I didn't fact check that. I'm just trusting him that he has. And that basically his opinion is this is just another way to keep Macklin out of the title scene. And I think that makes sense from his perspective, right? So I quite like this. And then he finishes by telling Alexander to keep one eye out because his buddy Scott D'Amore isn't around anymore, right? Because now it's Santino Marella running things, which is not great for me. And Macklin, to me, is one of the only interesting characters on this show. He feels realistic, and I don't think he's wrong about being overdue for a title shot. And I like that he finds a way to twist everything into a personal slight against him, right? So I think that's working for me. High spot, match-wise, was major players taking on Austin and Bay. I don't even like to call them Bullet Club because Bullet Club adds nothing to their presentation.
Not even that, but I feel like that's kind of died down. Like Switchblade and them haven't been on in a while. Like
just
ELP's
like two guys from a faction we don't see ever.
Right. So I don't even think that I think that makes more sense when Bullet Club's actually a factor.
I would rather they find a tag team name for these guys, and if you're gonna commit to them as a tag, which they're awesome, I will argue later that they should both be single stars, but whatever. The pinfall to this was really awkward because I think one of them already had whoever they pinned down, and then there was like the other one tried to join the pinfall, and I don't know if they communicated well, and it looked really awkward. But up to that point, the match was good. And then after the match, you like this. Hendry comes out to debut a new song because he had one about Moose, so now he has one about Matt Cardona. Funny. And it's basically about how Hendry will always consider Cardona to be Edge's bitch.
It was really funny.
And actually. So it's basically like he's doing a caster rap thing, but it's not a rap, right? It's more like country or whatever it is. And he kept putting up an image of
too.
Oh, sorry.
He making fun of the action figures too. Yeah, he kept putting the edge heads.
So it's like your hot wife wants to spend time with you, but you're busy playing with toys and stuff. And yeah, it was kind of funny.
It amused me. I just saw a clip of it and I watched it because I thought it was funny. And yeah, I'll admit that was pretty solid.
Yeah, I didn't mind it either. Resthold Death Dolls versus Giselle Shaw and surprise partner Tara. So again,
she looked really old.
What? In 2023, I don't need Bully Ray. I don't need Tommy Dreamer. I don't need Tara, right? So they think the idea of bringing these veterans back is a good idea, and I don't agree. And Tara was great in her day. She was an awesome performer, but not now. Not something I need, right? Giselle Shaw is cool, but the match was nothing special. And just to further the story that Shaw is hard to work with, right? That she can't get a partner, just like Tenille was doing. So she ended up.
Did she do a dash boogie?
So no, Shaw ended up taking the Widow's Peak from Tara though, because obviously this team cannot coexist. We can confirm. Resthold, Taylor Wilde got a little witchcraft segment where she's being spooky and using tarot cards, and I think the whole point is that she's not done with Killer Kelly. And I know these segments are supposed to be serious and dark, but I find them silly. Like, they're just silly. I don't like them. Resthold, Bully Ray bullies some podcast guy and Santino Marella. So Bully's mad that he's not in the 6-shooter match, especially as a champion, even though Santino keeps going like, you just fought Alexander and lost. Like, why do you deserve another chance, right? I just don't care about Bully, and I don't know who the podcast guy is. He was on, I think, last week as well. Some podcasters.
I remember seeing about
everybody has their own podcast nowadays. Am I right?
I don't know.
Even two random dudes could just sit in the basement and fire out a podcast that some people listen to.
We should do that.
We should do that. We should try that at some point, right?
Maybe.
Because I'm not actually recording. I've just been telling you this, but we just sit down here and talk, and I'm not recording it or anything. Just
how
all
do you get the view stats then?
It's all an elaborate
or
ruse.
The listen stats.
I make them up. High spot, I think, is Tasha Steelz and Savannah Evans are splitting up. The segment wasn't anything special, but I do think this duo has run its course, although I don't think they ever made the most of it. I think Steelz has really good charisma, and she can really run her mouth, and Evans is an impressive powerhouse, so guess what I think they should have done? Similar to what WWE combo?
Michaels and Diesel?
Yes. I honestly think they could have done Shawn Michaels Diesel thing, but...
Like, how do you mean?
That Steelz is like the champion or main eventer or whatever, and she runs her mouth and is an arrogant jerk, and that Savannah Evans is the muscle to back her up that lets her get away with talking the way she talks, right? And then eventually, because I like Savannah Evans too, you could even do the whole Savannah Evans is becoming the one getting attention and Steelz hates that, right? Like, that's all sitting there for you, but Impact has no interest in making new stars or focusing on anything new, right? They are convinced that they need to reach into the past to stay relevant, and I don't think it helps them, right? Highspot, I guess, was the 6-way main event. The match was pretty good. I don't love the... Did you hear who won?
Yes.
I don't love that choice. A, I'm kind of over Rich Swann. B, it's face now, which I don't understand. But anyways, overall, the fact that these 6 are a representation of the possible challengers,
Remind
right?
me who it is again.
Okay, so I find that underwhelming. Of the 6, Moose.
Yeah, that's fine.
You could, and I'll get into that. Moose, Sabin, Rhino.
Sabin, really?
Swann.
Rhino.
Callahan. Okay. Edwards.
I'd say Moose makes sense. Edwards makes sense. Who else? Sorry. Callahan makes sense, and then Sabin. I think Swann is fine. Then Sabin and Rhino are a stretch.
So to me, nobody's really interesting as a challenger. I could get behind Moose, and I have before. Like, I've loved Moose's work before.
And he was the one who dropped the title, too.
Yeah, not as currently presented, right? The other 5 just don't have any appeal as main eventers right now. And this match, for me, seems to, like, encapsulate Impact's flawed philosophy, right? Let's go back to the well of established veterans and former champions, rather than build and elevate guys like, to me, Ace Austin, Chris Bay, Macklin, Black Taurus, if you want. Bhupinder Gujar, if you're committed to this guy, let's go, right? Like, and in the women's division, I know, but Giselle Shaw. These are people that are new and interesting for me at the top of the card and would be fresh matchups and really interesting. But instead, they're going with, like, retreads, right? Like, let's go back to Eddie Edwards and let's go
run everything back, right?
And honestly, your ratings aren't good no matter what you do. So why not take a shot at creating some new stars and some interest, right? It makes this company feel stale to me, and I feel like that's what's happening right now, when some new names would add some freshen things up for me big time. So I'm just feeling the direction is, like, going away from younger, newer talent and back to, like, the tried and true, which don't get you guys ratings anyways. So why? It should be freeing for you to be like, no matter what, our ratings are low, so let's get weird with it. Let's try something new and maybe get some mainstream attention somehow. But they're just like, nope, status quo. Let's just keep plugging along the way we are. And I think you have a really good babyface champion right now. Josh Alexander's awesome, but he's kind of boring because who's the challenger right now? Nobody.
Swann.
Right? So I don't know. I'm a bit down on Impact's general direction right now. I don't think it's Santino's fault, but it's coincided with him being and just having, again, a comedy babyface authority figure woven throughout the show every week is not what I want personally. But anyways, anything from SmackDown for you? Because I'm done.
I think I had a couple Restholds.
Hit it.
Yeah. So the one thing I saw was like, and I heard about it, so I watched it. Was like this weird cluster segment because you gotta have the random promo segments with a bunch of people before the Rumble.
Got to.
So the random thing with New Day, Theory not on SmackDown, Miz not on SmackDown.
I'm so over New Day.
It was lame Rumble related stuff. Then they brawled. Lashley came out to beat down everyone. Then Lesnar F5'd him to declare for the Rumble, which scares me because last year was horrible.
Right.
And I can't trust them.
No, you cannot. Of course.
I think maybe Lashley and Lesnar will take each other out or something like that.
Probably.
But
and spin off.
You can never be sure. You can never be certain.
Because Lashley Brock makes sense for Mania, right? Like, that's a pretty good undercard, if you will.
I thought maybe they do that before because I thought Lesnar
could be
Gunther at Mania.
Oh, right.
Which would be insane.
Cool. Yeah.
I'm just like, because there was no way in hell I thought Lesnar was winning the Rumble last year, but they did it.
That's right.
So, because Lesnar's just the king of random matches, winning matches randomly.
Nice.
There.
Good recovery.
Thank you. Because remember when he won Money in the Bank literally out of nowhere? Because that's definitely how the match works.
Yes.
Like, that was worse than Theory, because at least Theory had, like, Mr. McMahon's favor, so, like, that was still stupid, but it was less stupid.
Right.
And, like, just, like, because didn't Theory at least enter before the match started? I think, right?
I can't remember.
I'm pretty sure.
I believe you.
Right, because Lesnar just ran out last minute, because that's what you're allowed to do.
And because you're Brock Lesnar, it's just like, do whatever you want, bud. Whenever you want.
It's like that one time when Mr. McMahon brought up Batista randomly after Elimination Chamber, just gave him a touch, just like Batista in the bank. You know?
Yeah.
Resthold, also Lacey Evans is back again. Lame.
Babyface now?
No.
No? So. Heel? All right. That's it?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to little bit of a bonus section here. We're going to go into some of our predictions for tonight's pay-per-view, one of the big four. PLE, and that is WWE Royal Rumble, and our predictions for that show. Let's do that now. All right, so unlike usual, I've actually put a little bit of thought into this one. So I've actually written some things down. So
I thought you were, because you told me you were looking at the card, right?
I did, because I needed to see who was in who had declared eligible if I'm going to be picking people, right? So yeah, run through what the matches are. There's only 5, I think, right? So kind of, but I guess 2 of them will probably be an hour long, so that's that.
Yeah, I thought there'd be more non-Rumble matches though.
There are not. So what are we saying here?
And one of them I forgot happened. Actually, 2 of them, kind of 2, but anyways. So LA Knight versus Bray Wyatt, and what I must refer to as the Mountain Dew Pitch Black match.
So first of all, what do you think that means? I assume lights are dim.
Lights are dimmed, no holds barred, I guess.
I think that's
something like that.
The guess, yeah.
Easy picks Bray Wyatt. I think it's been a decent while coming that LA Knight is going to be the first victim for. He's been primed for Bray's first W, right? So.
Yep. All right, I like it because I'm going out on a limb here a little bit. I'm taking LA Knight. Here's why. You looking at me like I'm crazy?
You are.
So, feels like to me the match for Mania is Wyatt Uncle Howdy. So I think Uncle Howdy gets involved, costs Bray the match, gives Knight a quality win on pay-per-view, PLE, because it feels like he's starting to get a bit of traction as a main event or a main roster guy, right? So it allows him to have a feather in his cap and then break away from Bray Wyatt, and it sets up Howdy and Wyatt, and I don't think it matters if Wyatt loses in his first match back, especially if it involves Uncle Howdy. So I'm going to take LA Knight, and we are differing. I like that. Otherwise, doesn't. I'm stretching a little bit, but
you are, but I don't think it's
crazy.
I don't think it's crazy.
My rationale's okay, right?
It is.
Yep.
Well, I mean, when your rationale is dealing with the Bray Wyatt storyline.
Right.
So next we get Belair versus Bliss for the Raw Women's title. That's the match I forgot about.
Right.
So I'm taking Belair because as interesting as it would be for Bliss to embrace the darkness, win the title, join Bray, Uncle Howdy, blah blah blah. I don't think it'll happen. I don't really think it's super likely, and I think Belair should lose to someone better.
Agreed.
Baszler drafted to Raw? ?
Dream on, buddy.
Yeah.
I also am taking Belair. I can't really see any way Bliss wins here.
As much as it would be interesting for the storyline, I can't reasonably put that as my pick.
I have seen reading stuff today. Someone was arguing that the money match for Mania is Belair and Charlotte, and that doesn't need a title if they build it well.
Belair and Charlotte? Really?
But I don't.
I think that would need a title.
And that they would say Belair could still look strong by losing to Supernatural nonsense, so it's not like a...
No, because I think Ripley should beat Belair at Mania.
I don't see that happening, so I'm taking Belair as well.
Yeah. Next we get Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens for the undisputed title. Roman Reigns, all hail the forever champ.
Yep, I can't see any universe that Owens wins here. The match...
for the Universal title.
The match should be good, but this is kind of the only issue with the Bloodline and Roman Reigns being booked so strongly. A really, really over babyface right now has no chance of winning on one of the biggest shows of the year, right? Where if you're going to have the winner in doubt, it should be at your big shows. Oh, this guy's got a chance. He doesn't have a chance, I don't think, right? So that is one of the issues with Reigns being presented the way he is, but I think the good they're doing sort of outweighs that, and it should be a good match anyway. So it's Roman Reigns, I think, pretty obviously here. Next.
I'm just adding something.
Oh.
So... now with the Rumble matches, what we usually do is you do 3 picks. If you get your first pick right, you get multiple points, and then you get
go 3, 2, 1.
Right,
your first
so 3 for 1, 2 for 2, and 1 for 3.
Correct.
It makes sense. Okay.
Yep.
So women's Rumble match first up, because let's be honest, there's no way that's main eventing.
I think we're both agreeing on who wins.
So my first pick's obviously Rhea Ripley.
Same.
It's just it makes the most sense.
Yeah, they finally found an effective way to present her. She's like modern day China, right?
It's one of those times where there's the clear pick for the win here, which I don't think there was last year.
And Judgment Day are actually cool, and I think they're gonna ride that momentum into Mania as they should. So I'm taking Ripley as well, and heel challenger for Belair, right? Yes. As you're saying.
So my backup pick is I think a safe bet for a new challenger would be Raquel. I think that's a fair second pick.
She's my number 3 pick.
All right, so I'll put that in for
you.
I
said a long shot for sure, but they could sort of, to use terms I hate, strap the rocket to her brother. Now that she's healthy and build like a female powerhouse, right? Yeah. Or she could have a million eliminations and not win.
So what do you want to put for your second pick then?
My second, I'm going a little safe and taking another heel challenger that could have a good match at Mania, and that's Bayley.
Bayley? All right.
Just in case. Because they're not, I don't think they're going to use this to elevate anybody new, because that's not what they do.
Other than Ripley, maybe.
Maybe, right? Although she's kind of on her way already.
Yeah.
Okay, yours?
My third pick is just because I wanted to throw it in because I want him to win.
Your third pick meaning your second pick?
No, my third pick.
Oh, right, because you went Raquel third. Got it.
No, Raquel second.
Second, sorry.
So my third pick is like the I want him to win pick.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler.
Yeah.
Good luck. You're just punting a choice.
I'm just putting it in there.
Okay.
Because why not?
You're hoping to speak it into existence.
So surprise entrance for women's, and obviously same point system. So I only thought of 2, right?
I picked 3.
So I haven't thought of my third one yet, so we can kind of talk about it, I guess. But my first pick, I kind of, just based on rumors from a little while, I took Chelsea Green.
Okay.
Because I've been hearing about it, right? So I just thought, like, there's a solid chance.
Yep, there is.
I saw people saying Green and Cardona, but
I have too.
I know Cardona's, he's still an Impact, so that doesn't make sense to me.
And sort of
doing
like
stuff,
focused on
right?
Impact,
so I think Chelsea Green's a fair pick.
I do too.
So first pick for you.
Although a cutout of her face was on Impact this week in the Hendry song.
True. But so
my first pick is A, because I think she's good, and B, I don't know what else there is for her to do in NXT, so I'm saying Alba Fire makes an appearance.
That's a fair one. I might take that as my third.
And not even that these people are coming and being on main roster, but like she might be.
Right, yeah. So like, and also I should mention for the surprise entrance, we're saying like returns, debuts, or call-ups.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so my second one is one of the ones that like we heard is coming, so I'm taking Beth Phoenix because I expect her to show up.
Sure.
I just think that kind of makes sense.
My second one is, I'll say, Tiffany Stratton makes an appearance.
NXT again.
Even as just like I said with Waller, right? Like a trial balloon of like,
yeah, you can kind of toss him in the Rumble,
we see big things for her. Let's see how the crowd reacts, and then send her back to NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my second choice.
I think that's your first one was a fair pick. So my third one, I'll take Alba Fire because I think a call up pick is always a fair choice.
And my third one, I'm going not NXT here because you went one non NXT. I'm going Naomi. I think there's just a chance, because that would get a huge reaction. You can't get Sasha Banks right now. So this is kind of plan B. So I think that would be...
She could be Bloodline.
Right. That's true, too. I didn't even consider that.
I'm going to take... I like that better than Fire, so I'm going to...
Oh, boy. Just copy.
I like that.
Keep your eyes on your own paper.
It's my third one. It's my third one, so... I'll keep my other two.
That's fine.
So men's Royal Rumble match winner picks. So my first one, it's the most obvious. It's Cody Rhodes. How is it not Cody Rhodes?
Agree. Very confident in this pick.
I'm extremely confident.
He was on this trajectory before the injury.
Oh, yeah.
And he's one of one of who's realistically could beat Roman Reigns.
My second pick is more of a safety pick.
Yeah.
Which is I'm not even positive that he shows up, but like I'm taking The Rock as a safety net, because it's fully possible that he comes, right? Like, and I don't want to take the chance that like he shows up and I didn't pick that.
And if
I think it needs to be there,
and that they want Rock Reigns at Mania
exactly in some capacity. So like this is, I think Cody Rhodes has to win, but I can't rule out that they would do that. Third pick. Right? Okay, that's fair. What's your second then?
So my second one I like because I want it to happen. I don't think it's likely. But I took Sami Zayn.
I've seen people taking that.
Because think of what an awesome addition to the Bloodline story. Like Sami acting as the conflicted over his loyalty to the Bloodline versus him getting an opportunity at a main title, which he's never gotten
Mania,
before.
though, do you think they would do that with him?
I don't, which is the problem. Because I don't think they see Sami as a Mania
That's
main
what
eventer.
I think. I think the story's already there for him and Owens to go against the Usos.
True, but I'm hoping there's someone smart enough to go like, man, this could be a compelling story with the acting ability of Reigns, too. I don't want to sell him short because he's so much better than I thought he could ever be. But I just think this is such a nice next step for that story. Can you just imagine Sami like, I want the titles, but I'm also loyal to, the tribal chief.
And that'll throw him in a question when he'll get booted out.
Right.
I think I'm
hopeful, but
Cody Rhodes is too all-powerful in the situation.
I agree.
My third pick is kind of the, I want him to win, but he's not going to win.
Tyler Rust?
No, that'd be a surprise entrant. I took Seth Rollins.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's a sizable chance. He's the names I've seen tossed around are Cody, Rock, Sammy, Rollins.
And he's sort of their safety net, right?
Right,
Like,
and I'm
he's
happy. I'm
popular.
happy Rollins is even in the conversation this year because he got screwed last year.
Right. So he's a possibility.
So I think that's a fair pick too.
All right. Surprise entrance for men.
So I didn't pick The Rock for some reason, which I feel like
I didn't either. I was NXT
I didn't,
heavy
but
here.
I guess like that's fair. So my first one is I think I kind of went off what we talked about in news a little while. I'm taking Logan Paul. I feel like there's.
Oh, okay.
I think he's kind of ready to come back. And I feel like this is a good way to reintroduce him, get a sizable pop.
Right.
He doesn't have to win anything. He doesn't really have to like lose anything either. Really, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a nice return spot.
Yeah. So I want to bump one of mine, my NXT picks. Who would it be? I'll move it there. Okay. So I'll say Braun Breaker.
Oh, you took my number 2.
Just because I think he's really close to being gone.
Oh, yeah.
And this is their, like, here he is, and he can make a few eliminations.
He can kind of represent as the champion, too, right?
Right, and probably look strong and eliminate a bunch of people and then move on.
That is also my number 2 pick.
So my number 2, has he been announced? Is Bad Bunny announced?
Nope.
So I'll take Bad Bunny.
I saw that on the website as a rumored one.
As my just because they love...
I think that's fair. They did it last year, to be fair.
They love the mainstream traction this guy gets them, especially at this time of year, so I think that's possible.
They did it last year, yeah. My last one is, again, one that I kind of saw floating around was I'm going to take Edge. I think it's a decent chance like he'll come set up a match with Balor.
I've seen some Ortons, even.
I feel like we would have heard that he's ready,
that's
right?
I
don't think so.
That.
So I'm taking Edge.
Yep. My final one, I said it watching NXT, I think he's ready for main roster, and I think it's the trial balloon thing. It's Grayson Waller.
All right.
See if he gets a reaction, see how he behaves mingling among established main roster talent. /Maybe not to go up right now, but he could be, but also just to be there and then back to NXT. So I'll take Waller.
All right. Then last one is the Iron Man / Iron Woman predictions.
Ooh, I didn't think of this
one. Last thing. I was really stuck on the women one. I don't have any picks for that yet, so we can kind of discuss it, but I have my men's picks. So do you have any yet or no?
No.
Okay, so my first pick I think is a safe one. Is just like because you can never really tell, but I feel like Seth Rollins is a pretty safe bet. I'm gonna take that as my first one. That's your first one?
Yes.
Alrighty.
As soon as you said who could be an Iron Man, that's who my mind went
right.
to
Yeah.
Right
instantly, I go right to that. And then I've seen the idea float around. Cody Rhodes could maybe do that. Maybe that gets him like you could do that return pop right away, and then he gets a lot of time in the match. You get a lot of time to see him, and then it's a huge win when he wins, right? So I think that's a possible. So that's my number 2.
Okay.
And do you have one yet, or do you want me to go?
No,
with my
keep
third?
going.
Okay, so my last one, I thought like he's not super huge right now, but I thought there's a chance. So and I couldn't think of anyone else really.
I'm looking at a list now.
I've float around the idea of Gargano, but I don't think he's really done. So I'm thinking maybe Kofi. Like you could just have Kofi kind of last there for a while, and like he would do the Rumble save, which keeps him in for a while. Like I feel like Kofi could kind of like just be like kind of a quiet Iron Man kind of deal.
I've got my second choice.
Okay,
now. Gunther,
really?
Because it's ring general. They want to build him to a pretty high profile match at Mania. It feels like, but he's not going to win.
Could take out Lesnar,
right? So he can get a bunch of eliminations, last a long time. And he is like this ring general guy. So I'll take Gunther.
I like that. Last pick.
Looking through a list here. Weak. All right, one that I want to have happen because he doesn't get any other accolades, but he's an awesome wrestler and he could last an hour if he needed to. Escobar.
Really?
Super dark horse, obviously.
I agree, but that's not a terrible pick.
Like, just so he has some sort of feather in his cap going forward, right? Like, he lasted 52 minutes in the Rumble.
That's true.
Blah, blah, blah. Because he's capable of it, right? So, I'm just hopeful that he gets a little attention. So, and now I'll quickly consult the women's list.
Women's. Yeah, so, like, I haven't, like, settled on anything, but I feel like you could do, like, someone like Lynch or Bailey.
Yes.
It sucks because Belair would be a good choice if she wasn't champion, right?
I'll take.
I thought even Candice LeRae, even though she's really low card.
I was thinking about that too.
I think I'm gonna take Lynch as my first pick. I don't know. I think that's like it's possible, and she's like prominent enough. Like that would be kind of a cool thing for her.
I'll take Io.
I saw her kind of tossed around as an idea. I was thinking either her or Dakota.
Because she's not gonna get anything else out of it, right? Other than maybe a spot
I'll put Io
or
in as
two.
my second because I was kind of thinking about her, but I wasn't sure. Second pick.
I'll take Candice LeRae. Just they need to do something with her, and again, it's a low stakes way of giving her some credentials, right?
Yeah, so, I was kind of tossing around like her or Bailey or Dakota or like those kind of people. I'll take Candice, I guess. I think that works.
And my third one, I'll double up on damage control. I'll say Dakota Kai. just because I like her a lot and hope she someday. She's like my Baszler for you, right? Like,
Yeah.
just always
Oh,
hopeful.
I love Dakota too. Yeah. But...
Hopeful that although she looked like.
Oh wait, I should pick
really
Baszler.
bad for a while at some point, but it's like she forgot how to wrestle. But I think hopefully she's back.
Do I want to put Baszler in this instead? No,
I don't know. No. All right, that's our picks.
Yes, Rumble picks.
All right, so you said we have some figuring it out to do?
A little bit.
Before we get on our way to the city. So let's do that now in a segment that we call Figuring It Out with Jack.
Yeah.
All right, sir, tell me about the figures. Tell me.
So we got images of Elite 101, so the first post 100 series. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Pretty neat.
And any details, or that's it? Just that.
Yeah, that's it.
You guys look it up on your own.
It's just pretty neat.
Imagine, visualize it.
Yeah. So so they got images of that. So there's Cody Rhodes, which the box. It's funny. It says the America Nightmare. So they screwed it up.
Nice.
Yeah.
America Nightmare.
Yeah.
America.
So it's in like the blue tights with like the kind of the American design. Like it's the one that he like from the Supreme figure that I got. So the two pants Cody. It's the same gear as that. So it's kind of like the competition, I guess. He's got the weight belt and like it's weird. The tattoo's kind of printed a bit on in here,
right?
Which is it's
botched
weird,
the neck tattoo, eh?
A little bit, but it's solid. The head skin's alright. The formula's nice. I like the look of it. It looks pretty nice. And he's got the weight belt, so it's pretty nice. It's a little bare bones, but it's really nice.
Cool.
And then you got Ricochet and like that gear he wore was like the black and yellow and then like the half fire bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got like the weird like it's I don't know. It's probably it was a reference to something, but it was what he wore at day 1, I think. And he's got the current Intercontinental, so it's cool to get that. Like, it's a new Ricochet. It's nice. It's got the Giant Gargano syndrome with the small kick pads,
right?
Which is it's not good.
No,
but like I think the rest of it looks really nice. I like it. It's nice and nice tights for Rick O'Shea.
He's got some cool gear.
Johnny Knoxville, he's there. Then we get a current Sonya Deville, which looks pretty nice actually. Like the
Daria Baronato
looks really nice. Nice cloth jacket too. Like it looks really nice.
I don't know why I default to that name for some reason.
I don't know, like it's so like it's so not you either.
That's when she was straight MMA lady.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like early NXT.
Yep.
Then we got Kevin Owens from WrestleMania last year, our favorite show. With the KO Mania 6 shirt against Austin, and then you have the interchangeable bald cap head and an Austin shirt. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
You got like the sculpting to make sure you know it's a bald cap too, so I think that's kind of cool. You could have some uses for that as well.
Unique, yeah.
And then do you remember who the last figure in the series is? I did mention it before.
No.
Mr. America.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you got Mr. America on the standard one where he's got the blue mask with the white star.
At least it's not Hulk Hogan.
He's got the star. He's got the star knee pad. He's got cloth shirt, boas, weight belt, and he's got like the interchangeable head sculpt where he's got this mask sculpted on where it's like he's peeling it up.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the chase variant
to
with
reveal not Hulk Hogan.
The stars and stripes mask, and it's the same stuff, just slightly different. So yeah, it's not Hulk Hogan, obviously, right. Brother. Then Ultimate Edition 16 images. So you got Styles from Mania when he faced Edge, our favorite show, obviously.
Loved it.
In the white and blue, which it's really nice. He's got like the rubber vest, but it's got the cloth hood, so that's really nice. A couple new head skins. He's got like the wavy hair head, like mid phenomenal forearm.
He has good ring gear usually too.
Yeah, I like it's white and blue, so it looks really nice. I definitely want to get it at some point. He's got a cloth shirt too, and with the butterfly joints and the double jointed elbows, he can finally actually do the thing.
The hand gesture.
Yeah, because they started including the hands a while ago, but you can never do it with the single jointed elbows, and even with the double jointed elbow elite, it's really hard to. So like you can never do it, right?
Like we'll give him the gloves to do it, but it's impossible.
Right, but now you can there's literally the one image where he's doing it. And it's like it's actually perfect. I'm like finally.
Right.
So that's kind of cool.
Nice.
And then you got Razor Ramon in the yellow, orange, and black. I want to say it's from WrestleMania 10 this gear, but I don't know. He's got the Intercontinental title, interchangeable heads. One of them probably has a toothpick and a bunch of hands. And then for some reason, there's a chase variant, which they've never done before for Ultimates in the purple. So that's pretty nice. Same accessories. And then there's some Elite leaks, which I told you about.
Yes, you did. I remember that one.
There's Elite 102, which is not Elite because they showed renders for it, but the lineup is... There's Edge from Judgment Day, which is weird because that matters.
Didn't last long.
There's Theory or Austin Theory, and he's got the chase. Again, update Gunther, Sami Zayn from the Jackass match, Rhea Ripley, Judgment Day, and Commissioner Foley.
Yep.
Which is interesting.
Weird.
And then Elite 103 is the leaks, which is pretty sweet. So that there's gonna be Lashley, which they just released a couple Lashleys. Like there's a black one with the white logos, and then there's the red tights.
Yeah.
Which I saw someone say that you should have like the white tights with the black logos from when he faced Lesnar the first time, which I think would be cool. Or I'd like the half black and half gold tights. Those are cool too. I actually made that on 2K like a long time ago.
General. Black and gold is cool.
I did that like a long time before they did it, so I win.
Was your idea?
Yeah. And then Roman Reigns, which I think is an odd choice because a lot of his figures are going to look the same, right?
Yes.
They've already come out with 2 different elites with the red gauntlet, so there's not much they can do on site. I was thinking they should do a promo gear Roman.
Yeah.
Or you give him the boots with the red details. I don't know. There's not a lot you can do to make different Roman figures unless you do a promo gear, like you could do the red tracksuit or something. Then you got Street Profits, which is cool because they need updated figures. They haven't had figures since Elite 81, which is a while ago.
I keep hearing that Ford is on pace to be a singles breakout.
That was a while
never
ago,
happens.
right? Like, Liv Morgan.
Yay.
And then Stardust.
Yeah, you texted me
I'm
school
so happy
to be like, it's a member of the Rhodes family, and I was like, oh my god, they're giving Brandy Rhodes a figure? That's
no, they're making Stardust.
Nice.
Finally. And he's getting the chase variants, the 2 Stardust.
You really liked Stardust. You're like the only
Stardust
person.
Is funny.
Yeah, I guess.
He's awesome. Oh, I'm so buying that. I'm buying both Stardust. That's even better than Boogeyman.
Right.
Because I could use Stardust. That's awesome. Oh, I'm so happy. It'll be like Stardust with double jointed elbows, and you can interchange the head, and he's got interchangeable hands.
So happy for you.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be so awesome. It's funny because 2 series after Cody Rhodes figure, because he does have the no Stardust clause, right? But I guess this is just merchandise, so
yes.
It's okay. Oh, it's awesome. It's so, yeah.
You're weird.
Oh, it's awesome.
Is that it?
There's some more here that I'll mention at least. They're doing the second wave of the Elite Greatest Hits, which they only showed 2 so far. So they're doing King Harley Race, which it's like the series of re-releases basically with the new technology. Blue Tista, if you remember, I was talking about that. And then they got Shawn Michaels Undertaker again, which is weird because he was in the first series too, where of the first Greatest Hits wave.
Was Blue Tista when he was awesome?
No, Blue Tista was when he faced the Shield at Payback, and he just wore blue.
His final heel, whatever thing was, he was really good. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah, and then they have DDP and Seth Rollins, which if these are all re-releases, I'm really hoping for the white Rollins, because if I'm thinking Greatest Hits and Seth Rollins figures, that's the only one that really comes to mind that isn't recent.
Yeah.
So it kind of has to be that. So that's really cool. And then they mentioned there's some pay-per-view ways, like the SummerSlam we already knew, which is Hulk Hogan in like that camel gear from the Desert Storm. I don't know what that is. Ziggler from when he got squashed by Goldberg. Jey Uso from 2021, which was pretty cool because it's Bloodline, and Zeus.
Great.
Then the Mr. Perfect build figure. And then Survivor Series elites are interesting. So you got Shawn Michaels, which is cool because he's probably got a bunch to choose from. Charlotte.
Yay.
Jerry Lawler.
Well, I mean, Charlotte, you have to keep updating the face scan. You know what I'm saying? She just got back from, you know why she was out for so long? Dental issues.
And then Kevin Owens, British Bulldog build figure. And then top picks is going to be Rey Mysterio, which makes sense because they pump out Mysterio's like nobody's business.
Because of the masks and gear.
Right? Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, he's got like a million, which it's cool because there's so many good ones you can do, which is kind of the benefit of him, but they pump him out. Riddle, which surprises me he's in there, but I mean, you could do a repaint of him easy, so that's pretty cool. And then Cody Rhodes, which would be cool because you could just do another repaint, but I fear that it would be one of the re-releases. Although in the topics line, because remember they used to do like one re-release all the time. Now they don't, so I'm hoping they don't. And then Ultimate Edition 18, which is Macho Man Randy Savage and Randy Orton.
Nice.
Randall and Randall.
Right.
So yay Stardust is the point.
That's the thesis here.
They also revealed the all-pink Brett Target exclusive Ultimate, but we only care about Stardust here.
True. Forever.
Yeah.
That's it?
Yes.
Nice. So we're back up over our 2-hour mark, almost 2.25. It's a beefy episode this week, 132. So yeah, I hope everyone enjoys your Royal Rumble Saturday night. I hope the show's a lot better than last year. We'll be back next week for sure to talk about Royal Rumble. I imagine we'll include a quick review of that. Probably talk about the indie show that we're going to today as well, maybe in the banter section, so you can look forward to that. And worst of, don't know, it's in the works somewhere.
It is.
There is a document that exists and it's halfway filled in, so we'll get to that when we get to it. We appreciate any time you're taking out of your week to listen to us talk about wrestling. Feel free to contact us. I always reply. fnswrestling@gmail.com. You can leave a comment on YouTube if you're listening, or whatever platform. Which I shouldn't say that because I don't even know if someone commented on anything other than Podbean if I see it. This is how good I am at this. I don't know.
Comment on anything, but we will see it on Podbean.
I reply to everything I see. I can say that for sure. So anyways, we will see you back here definitely next Saturday for episode 133. And until then, take care.